Welcome to the Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation first and foremost to Rob H, Ben White, Maximum Gravy, Austin Whitsit, John Kays, Julian Jeremiah, Tommy Swagnuts, Michael Kahn, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Melby Styles, Troy Shuker, Bose Nail, Sampson, Maris, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, theflatearthchannel.com, Texas Mike, and David Wayne Foster. So a huge, massive thank you to all of you, especially at the moment, for supporting me on Patreon. And I'll say especially at the moment, as disaster struck yesterday, and my Projector, which was crowdfunded, so about two or 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, my Projector before the one that I currently have that I'm speaking about now went bang, and I crowdfunded, or did a GoFundMe, and bought a new one, which was wonderful because it gave me the ability to run lots more software on the show. So I went from a 1080p projector, which I'm currently running, which I'll get into in a minute, versus a 4K projector. So it's like having 3 extra 1080p screens. If you've got 2 1080p screens versus 1 1080p screen and a 4K screen, which is what I typically run. But that went bang. So I've had to box it up, get in touch with the manufacturer and send it off for repair. And it's sod's law because the last few shows I've been saying, it's been a really bad month, it'd be great if people could send me a few PayPal contributions, as it's been tough, so please support me as it's been a crappy month. And then my projector goes bang, which is absolutely horrendous. Now it's too expensive to junk, and as much as Arwin's very kind words when I was chatting in his show today, and he was making me all happy and less stressed, as I've just done a 150-mile round trip, but making me a bit less stressed until he said, oh yeah, projectors just get junked once they're broken, you can't really fix them. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but don't say that when I'm here to be de-stressed. Anyway, so that's been picked up by FedEx, and in the meantime, when I was telling my woes to various ballbusters and others, Adam suggested that I just do another GoFundMe, and I'm like, no, when this particular item would still be fresh in the mind of people who are subscribers, Patreons, channel members, and probably contributed to that GoFundMe. I'd be a bit put out if it was me, and a couple of years, maybe 3 years after somebody asked me to support them and buy them a piece of equipment to give them better abilities to do their job, basically, they were then asking for the exact same thing again. I mean, these things do happen, but at the same token, I want to avoid that. I'm a reasonable guy, and I think my audience expect me to be reasonable back to them, especially when I get the kind of levels of support I do. So at this stage, heaven forbid they get in touch with me and tell me it is actually a complete write-off and now junk and I do have to replace it, in which case I'll just have to swallow my pride and do another GoFundMe. But that's kind of not what I hope will happen. But I preface that by saying there will be undoubtedly a repair bill at the end of this, probably a new bulb bill at the end of this, and there will be money to be spent. And as sod's law dictates, it's going to be at a time that I'm having a crappy month. So there we go, that's life. And in that respect, I'm just going to say, look, more than ever, if you can support me, or you were considering contributing to me, then there's a PayPal link below, and it would be really, really helpful to actually have a little bit of money to be able to cover a repair bill. Now, in this respect, well, as much as I would love to just be able to cover these sorts of things, I don't do a great living on YouTube, as people who are long-time subscribers know, hence the levels of support I do get. But yeah, I want to stretch that pound or dollar or whatever it is I'm getting from you as far as possible. In that respect, I have just sent it immediately off to at least attempt to get it repaired. So that's the way I'm moving forward. Just to give you a bit of an update on why yesterday didn't have a show and why I'll probably be perpetually begging for PayPal contributions over the next few days. I just wanted to get that cleared out of the way and give props to Adam Meekin. So during the discussion, Adam suggested that I do another GoFundMe, and I gave the explanation I've just given to you. But he also mentioned that he happened to have an old projector knocking around. And as coincidence would have it, it's the exact projector I had the projector before last. As you can probably tell if you're not familiar with me and my channel and what I discuss in terms of technical aspects of the show, I go through a lot of projectors. Projectors don't last very long, but that is just my chosen method of doing what I can do so I can have this lounge, put that equipment, roll it up on a screen, and then there's a window and it's a normal lounge again. But for the show, it means that I can actually have a dedicated screen area that's massive, and I can monitor lots and lots of different things on a nice big screen area. Anyway, that I don't have. So now I can actually run the show. This old projector that I had projected before last, which Adam had knocking around in a cupboard, which he happened to have and wasn't using and hadn't dug out for a good period. And he said, you can have it if it means you can get your show going. So I was like, great, stick it in the post to me on a group call with lots of other people who said, just go and drive and get it. So that's precisely what I did. At their mercy, obviously I am not, but by the same token, I do want to show willing, I do want to get my show on the road, and I do want to keep it going, if possible, if it means 150-mile round trip, just to pick up something that someone's graciously giving me for free, I might add, and is worth several £100s. So big shout out to Adam. I am so grateful. He was, even when I got there, very courteous and offered me a brew and offered me to, stay and chit chat. I was like, I want to get it up and running, and as much as I'm not subservient to the rest of the people who told me to immediately go and get it, so I could do this show, I do kind of feel obliged to my audience, the people who support the channel. While it's easy to just say, oh, I'm so grateful to you supporting me, doing things like this shows my willing back. In other words, you're supporting me to make sure that I've got a show running and have done financially, and I want to show that when push comes to shove, I'll jump in the car 7 a.m. in the morning and drive halfway across the country to pick up something that someone's graciously giving me for free. So in a very limited way, I can at least have my show running for you all to enjoy. And I want to disseminate the information on Flat Earth Debate in the way I've been disseminating it, with support from people, and now I can do that, and I'm very grateful for it, albeit in a limited capacity. So I'm going to get that out of the way a few times. So I've kind of technologically at least taken a step backwards, and while I'm not in the slightest bit ungrateful for Adam giving me a projector to keep this show running, obviously it's still going to be a little bit frustrating, and things will slow down and certain technical aspects won't be around anymore. Also certain precautions that I have set up when I've got more screen real estate to actually monitor these things. So there's certain dangers that the computer might overheat or things like that I just haven't got the space to monitor anymore. So there we go. So there's a few things that are going to change on the show. Let's just grab my coffee before my mouth completely dries out. But yeah, I think that's been a good 10 minutes of disclaimers and thanks to Patreons and e-begging. So my woes aside, with my new projection monitoring equipment, I will be rocking and rolling with the show today, so there will be a debate, and with that, while I do press a few more buttons that I typically have to press, but they'll probably take me a bit longer to press them, I'll say be sure to smash the PayPal link in the info box below this video, and with that I'll hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google, as I've got both running, believe it or not, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones. Sorry, what videos? I just caught the end of that.
I posted a couple of videos that I never heard from before. That guy Bart Sabrell.
What about
that moon guy?
I've seen.
God, it was very interesting.
What, a funny thing happened on the way to the moon? Is that what you're talking about?
No, these are brand new interviews by that guy Patrick Bet-David from Valuetainment. It's a big YouTube channel, and he interviewed the guy, and he was saying stuff I never heard before. But it's interesting how when he asked him, Patrick asked him, so are you saying you're a flat earther now? He's like, no, why would I? What does that have to do with the shape of the earth? I'm just debunking the moon landings. We know the earth is not flat. Posted it yesterday. You should catch a listen to it.
I had a lot on my plate, Neil.
Gotcha.
Everything working?
Yes and no.
Okay. Well, my PC's not working, so I'm on my phone. I mean, it's working. I got the internet from my phone, but not my PC, and I'm in the same room. Go figure.
Working, it's just the equivalent amount of screens that I've got. A 4K screen, because it's big, is like having 4 1080p screens, because that's how many pixels you've got. Hence, I like doing it on a projector, because it in useful terms, it is literally like having 4 screens. So that's really useful. You've got more real estate, you can put more pieces of software and monitor more stuff at the same time. Yeah? Well, Adam's is a 1080p. Obviously, I wasn't expecting to get a 4K monitor out of him, but it's sufficient because I've used to do the show this way. So in my mind, I was like, yeah, I can still do it. That's great. That'll be perfectly adequate. But the moment I put one piece of software on it, which is how I used to do it, to be perfectly honest, the whole screen becomes the Hangout screen. But then when you do it that way, you're like, oh God. So what I had on the other 3/4 of the screen, where am I going to put all that? I'm like, geez, what am I going to do with all the software? So I put it up, I've got it all uploaded, called my wife over, scratching my head and shaking it, going, what am I going to, what, totally stumbling and stuttering, going, where am I going to put all this stuff?
What a problem to have.
It's a big problem.
Yeah, well, you're just going to have to remember how you did it until it gets fixed to where you can get your 4 screens.
Yeah, I've added more and more stuff, though, haven't I? Over that 2.5 or whatever it is years, I've just kept adding more and more software.
Yeah, but you're going to find out how much of it is actually necessary.
All of it.
But just to run the show, how'd you do it before?
Same way I do now, but with great difficulty. Look, just don't nag me. I'm stressed enough.
Listen, 10th man, he's downgraded. Cut him some slack.
I know. He still hasn't watched Ford versus Ferrari. He's waiting for something.
I have actually.
Oh, did you like it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And I'd love to be able to get enthusiastic about it. On any other day, I'd love to actually go through you and regale you with how wonderful Ford versus Ferrari was. But this is not that day.
I kind of figured that out when Neil said, "Did you watch that video?"
Well, listen, I said it with a disclaimer. I said, since it's your day off today and there's no show, watch the video.
No, the second.
But Nathan, you basically downgraded then, right?
Well, the instant it went wrong, the moment I turned it on and it started to go wrong, obviously I tried to power cycle it and reset it and do all the things you'd normally do, troubleshoot. But the moment that failed, I was on the phone to the retailer, then on the phone to the manufacturer, and arranging collections and repairs and tickets and RMA numbers and all of that stuff instantly. So while the show was running, the one that I just stuck out that was a repeat, I was extremely busy the entire time, and I haven't stopped. So when I came off that chat with you guys in the group chat and Adam yesterday, I went immediately to bed, got up, and immediately got in the car and drove over to Adam's, got back, and then I've set it up, and now I've sat down and now I'm doing this. So Arwen was like, I was making jokes in Arwen's chat because I got about 5 minutes to have a cup of coffee or half a cup of coffee. And I'm in Arwen's chat to try and unwind, and I'm making a few wisecracks. And he told me off, and I'm like, bloody hell, Arwen, I'm coming here to de-stress. He's like, well, what have you got to be stressed about? Someone's just given you a projector. I'm like, yeah, I had to do a 150-mile round trip to get it. And I've spent all of yesterday chasing RMA numbers and sales receipts and stupid stuff that you just don't expect to be doing during the time frame that you're expecting to just fire up your show and make a living, as opposed to how much is this going to cost me, how much is that going to cost me, oh, that's going to cost this much, oh great, this is going to be painful on a really crap month. Great. But yeah, so Arwen didn't quite
Nathan,
get it.
you sure?
Say
Sure
again,
are
sorry.
dedicated, and I do appreciate that.
I said that I did a preamble before I connected to you guys, and in my preamble, I'm like, the amount of people who offer me support, financial or otherwise, Adam being a perfect example. You need a projector. I'm sure I've got one. Shall I dig it out and see if it's compatible? Oh, yes, please. I've dug it out. It's an HD25. I had that projector. It's definitely compatible. It's got the right throw length. I used to use it. Do you want it? Yeah. Well, that's the kind of support that I get all the time from various different people in various different methodologies. Not obviously projector based every time, but you know what I'm getting at. And yeah, you want to show willing. You want to show that when it comes to it, I'll do that, and I'll go the extra mile to actually get the show on the road. As much as yesterday I was joking with you and going, nah, just post it. It'll be fine. I'll have a day off.
Yeah, I just didn't want any damage to happen to it because stuff gets to me in the mail with all kinds of damages.
No, I'm glad I did. I saw a reason pretty quickly, and that's why, I went straight to bed, ended the call with you guys, and then just got up and drove all the way to Adam's. It wasn't terrible, it didn't take an eternity, and as much as I think Adam detected that I was a bit stressed and just wanted to get on the road and get it, I told him that. I was like, I just want to get it plugged in and make sure it works. And I'm glad it did, because if I hadn't been on the go since, I wouldn't be ready now. I feel more... you remember the other day I was talking about airline pilots. They see it as like the stress is over once you're in the air. Once you've got airborne, that doesn't mean all the troubles are behind you and you must rush forth to get into the air, which is where accidents do happen. But for the most part, once you're up in the air, it's kind of plain sailing. You set your destination, and you can kind of, the 6 or 7 minutes that you've had to taxi and get into the air, that is incredibly stressful, high workload. And then the workload ends. Not ends, but you know what I mean? The high stress workload ends. That's like me now. I asked my wife, she'd just finished work, we kind of cross over on our time frames for working. So at 1 o'clock, I was like, I'm going to sit down and start messing, and like, she's listening to me swearing and cursing and crying at where I'm going to put all this stuff. But she made me a cup of coffee. So now I'm actually sat with a cup of coffee, something I'd normally do. And I feel more relaxed with a show recording than the entire morning and yesterday combined. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, no, I know exactly what you mean. You take ownership of your show. You wanted to, you're on it to where you want to have a good production. So now you got less than what you had prior to the other projector going down. And the stress level is not because you don't know what you're doing, but you just want to make sure it's done right. So very few people put that much energies into having an end product. It's like people leaving the house sloppily dressed versus someone who takes time to groom themselves. They just don't care, whereas you care.
Well, yeah, exactly that. I discussed that with a rep once, and that rep was in jeans and a t-shirt, and he was like, you do realise that, audio reps don't need to be in a suit. I'm like, yeah. And he was like, well, why don't you just wear jeans and a t-shirt then? I was like, some of my products cost £20,000 a box. I looked him in the eye when I said it too. In other words, if you're buying from me and something that could potentially have a combined system value of £250,000, that they don't want to hand over their money to someone who's not in a suit in that scenario. You know what I mean? So there's a certain, it's like armour, isn't it? You put on your posh watch, you put on your posh suit and your posh Italian shoes that you've spent a fortune on, so that when you walk into somewhere that isn't generally expecting to see somebody in a suit, they're like, oh, somebody in a suit. And then they pay a little bit, not much, more attention to what you've got to say.
I hear you. So, but with me, it was just the opposite, Nathan. When I went before the judge for sentencing, I had to make sure that I had no jewelry on, no nice clothes on, dressed down as much as possible.
I mean, I had to carry that mentality when I was out in the Far East, and sometimes in 100% humidity. So you'd be out in a three-piece suit, and you'd be...
Oh yeah. And then culturally, they expect that.
Absolutely, they'd be in a suit. So they'd run between air conditioners. So in Korea, the guy had a nice Audi, had a V8 Audi with a very good air conditioner. and you'd rattle around between buildings, and between buildings were really well air conditioned. In other words, too cold, if anything, for my taste. But outside, if you spent any prolonged period outside, within, I'm going to say 5 minutes, you were entirely saturated. In other words, wet. You were just drenched. Now, for me, you'd be out and you might have a couple of suits in the suitcase, but ultimately speaking, you've got to kind of make them last for several journeys, and you're just there in this saturated, dripping wet suit because you're outside in 100% humidity. But you still, the ideal would just be in shorts and a t-shirt. But like I say, you can't walk into somebody and they're like, so how much is this preamplifier? Oh, well, that's £17,000. And you're there in a jeans and your t-shirt and your Casio watch or whatever. Doesn't go over.
Or you could have this. Or you could have this suit like Joe Pesci had in My Cousin Vinny. when his suit got hit with mud, and he had to buy that stupid suit to put on. I don't know if you remember the part, but it was hysterical.
In some of the Far East countries, I stayed in, I don't know how they got the star structures, but 7-star hotels. And on one occasion I arrived, this absolutely gorgeous hotel, and I'd had something, moisturiser or shampoo or something had exploded in my suitcase in the flight. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I just called up room service and asked them where I could get dry cleaning done. And they're like, no problem, we'll sort that for you. And that was kind of the end of the phone call. I was like, no, you need to give me instructions on where I can go and what I can do to solve this problem. I don't know, 2 minutes later, knock. Open the door. You have a problem with something needing cleaning? Yeah. And then I showed the person who arrived what the problem was. They gathered up, bundled up all my clothes, and I kid you not, within an hour and a half, it was laundered, pressed, and immaculate and back in my hands in the hotel room.
No freaking way.
It was unbelievable. I don't know how we've got on this conversation 2 minutes before our live show's due to start, but we have.
Well, I'm sure Kent has some slides.
No. I'm battling a few things here. But we're talking about if you're going to sell a high-priced item, how should you dress? And it's kind of, you can't show up. It depends. If your clients are of certain character, they may want you to come that way. But for the most part, you got to dress up.
Sure.
Nathan, did you ever have any problem with any of your bosses, those that you worked for? I gather you never had a problem.
Me never had a problem.
Perfect employer.
I've been fired by every employer I've ever had, Neil. Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, and this is a particular note if you drive an electric vehicle. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now, we are joined by 10th Man, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, good morning, hello, wherever you may be. Hello, Arwin.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Let's do a bit of housekeeping. Everyone fair game?
Yep.
Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as Earth curve?
You're going to need a big R for that one.
Not since the Black Swan.
You can't assume until you prove it, and they've been assuming all along.
Well, it would be physical obstruction, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
So is it there?
No,
No,
the
it's
horizon is an
optical.
Earth curve, no.
Right, because you can't see the geometric horizon, which would be the physical obstruction.
Yeah, that would be Earth curve. So no.
Yeah, we wouldn't, like I keep saying, we wouldn't have this show if everyone saw Earth curve. And since the beginning, when they hoisted this model on us, no one's ever seen Earth curve.
We all clear?
You would also need 3 straight lines for geometric triangle.
Yeah, well, we're not referencing anything in regards to that, but that is true.
Well, he did have a right angle to that question.
So if I had a basketball and I put, like, the little Monopoly houses and hotels that you have when you're playing Monopoly, and I put a few of them on one side of the basketball, and then I go maybe not halfway, but maybe 3/4 of the way, and put some more houses on the other side of the basketball, there's a physical obstruction there, isn't there?
Yeah, so between the flea coming out of his Monopoly house to see over his picket fence into the distance, there's going to be a physical geometric sphere edge horizon akin to the claim of Earth curve that would obscure that, what do we say, flea's view of the other hotel across the way with a geometric physical limitation to their view in the distance. And that would be the edge of the basketball. That isn't comparable to our horizon. We've shown with the Black Swan that it's beyond the geometric limitations of an Earth sphere radius 3959, in the same way as that basketball would give you a physical geometric limitation a la the horizon on the basketball.
Oh dear.
Well, it's even now with the sextant argument so strong, it is impossible for sextant to work off of a curved surface. In fact, you can't use a scale off of a curved surface to get an angle.
I just have a quick word of Righteous. Are you going to hang around for a little bit, Righteous? I'd be very grateful if you did. No pressure.
Yes.
Woohoo! Thank you. I'm very grateful. I'm sure you'll appreciate why. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Nope.
Gonna need R for that.
Reference frames are ruined.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
It's over there.
Try
I
that
can
again.
see it.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
3 AUs.
3 Arwinian units.
Yes. 3 rainbows. 3 rainbows away and 1.5 moon away.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope.
That has got to
Nope.
be the most ridiculous one out of all of them. Listen to that when you say it.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
Black Swan.
Any evidence of... let's leave that till last. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Well, you'd have to know what it is first. Now it's just a concept.
Not scientific proof. No.
One more time, Jorge.
What do you mean? It's it.
No scientific proof. No.
They tell you what it is. It keeps you on the ground. It keeps you grounded. Without gravity, they say we'll float away into the vacuum of space.
In a vacuum, bugs and feathers fall at the same rate of speed and touch the ground at the same time.
One more time.
Sorry, there's a lot of background noise for me. I was watching this video, and we had this debate in the Ever After show for the past couple of days. In a vacuum chamber, a bowling ball, and feathers were dropped at the same time, and they both hit the ground at the same time as well. And therefore, people claim that that's gravity.
Okay.
Sounds like a maximized relative density disequilibrium, right? A vacuum is very, very low density.
They're still pulling that magic trick on people.
So what happens if you do the same thing
Yeah, I
with
think
gas?
the channel was Action Lab.
What happens if you do the same thing with gas?
Not
Well-
that.
Well, then there would be friction, right? The gas kind of stops it,
No, I don't mean that.
depending on...
You're saying you drop feathers and you drop a bowling ball. What if you drop helium?
Oh, if you drop gas.
Well, you do the same thing. You take it up to the top. You have it in a container in the same way that it's latched. If it's a bowling ball or some bag of feathers or whatever, well, do the same thing but for the gas. Keep it in a nice container and then release it in the vacuum. What happens?
Right. Well, it falls down and forms a puddle.
No, it does not. It expands in all directions and fills the availability of volume it has to fill. So when they're describing how gas behaves through air, or the lack of air in this example, doesn't change the fact that you can have medium-specific effects with gas that don't fall in line with everything going down. Gas debunks the idea that mass is attracting mass, because gas isn't doing that.
I just want to see a photograph of a puddle of helium.
Right. Well, you won't achieve that, especially not in their vacuum chamber.
But in any sort of condition, that will be interesting.
Right. You can introduce gas that's a very heavy or dense gas, and temporarily, if you introduce a high enough quantity of it low enough down, you can get it to temporarily appear like a puddle. Think of an example: dry ice. There you go. The problem is... hold on now, Owen. The problem is entropy still rules. Eventually that gas will disperse into whatever volume it's got. Now, the fact that there is pre-existing gas, that means that it doesn't just immediately disperse like it would into a vacuum where there's nothing precluding it to bounce off of. But given enough time, because there is gaps between every gas, it will disperse. That is the process of entropy. That gas will fill the space. So a couple of weeks ago, we got into a discussion about this happening in a bathroom. You open the door and the steam doesn't just pour out. Well, no, because there's a different gas that's still there that it's still going to bounce off. There's a high quantity of it, so it doesn't just like burst through the door. It's like there's an invisible barrier. Well, yeah, there's another gas in its way. So it will, over time, diffuse into that gas, disperse through the gaps in the other gas with time. That's entropy. But this notion that you can have gas fall down, go boom boom, because if you show feathers versus bowling ball in vacuum, then mass goes to the centre of the mass of Earth. Well, then mass of the helium would go to the mass of Earth. Obviously, if there's a vacuum, there's nothing precluding it from going down, go boom boom, but yet it just expands in all directions, debunking this notion.
The only way you could form a puddle of helium is if you consider that it would form a puddle on the ceiling. Like if you release helium within a chamber filled with water or oil, then it's probably going to form a puddle at the ceiling of that chamber. And if you then turn around the camera, then it might actually look like, oh, it's like a puddle, except
Well,
it's
no.
on the ceiling.
Unlike a puddle, if you're talking about having something that it's going to displace, so you've got a cylinder and 90% of the cylinder is filled with oil, just for the sake of argument, and then at the bottom you've got a valve that you can release helium in. And you're saying, well, I'll release helium into it. Well, presumably, in that scenario, you've already got a gas in the space. There's not a vacuum in that little gap. So it's got to displace something else, hasn't it? So in every scenario, you're just going to have that gas mixing with whatever gas is in the space that's up above whatever you're displacing it through to get that effect. But it's still going to mix with and disperse into all of the gaps in whatever space that there is, or perceived space, because there's still air in it, at whatever pressure you're at. So if you could hypothetically have a liquid that doesn't disperse into a vacuum, just to give the example, and then you could pump the air through it, and then miraculously the liquid which hadn't changed state and become a gas and filled the availability of volume in line with natural law, you filled that bit with helium, that empty space, then you just have whatever that space was filled with pure helium. Just helium. And it would, whatever the gap was, whatever it could fill, it would just fill it. And the reason I use oil is to say, well, it's not going to compress that and create itself more space by knocking out the spaces in the liquid, because they're not completely bonded together like they would be in a solid. Got Adam joining. Hooray.
Wow, you're taking this a little far there. I wasn't suggesting that a vacuum of any sort was around, nor that it would be a proof of gravity. Just saying, like, it could be, you could make it visually if you just released it within a liquid like oil or water,
yeah,
and
I
there
got
would
that.
be no other gas, and it might seem like a puddle, but it would be
No.
on the top.
Let me just explain why I said no. I'll make it a bit more clear. So the reason I'm saying no is because if you imagine what a liquid puddle does, so you pour water onto the ground and it'll displace in the horizontal as it fills up. So if you pour more and more liquid, it'll just go more and more horizontal, outwards. Now, that is not true when you try and say, well, you just get a puddle of helium on the ceiling. No, you don't. It doesn't hit the ceiling and then spread out horizontally along the ceiling. It fills whatever space it's got in whatever gap it's got between the ceiling and whatever's below it in that instance. So it's not like a puddle on the ceiling.
No, you're getting it wrong. You're assuming that there is already other gases there. I'm saying if you release it in like a liquid-only room, no other gases. Yeah, of course, if there's other gases, it's going to mix. Yeah.
No, I didn't. I gave a long disclaimer about how, notwithstanding that it would be, in your example, in a cylinder, some gases there, I said in a hypothetical scenario where the oil didn't just diffuse into the space, which it would if you tried to create a vacuum in a chamber with some liquid in it, but in a hypothetical scenario where you could just have a gap with nothing in it, i.e. a vacuum above some oil, it's just nonsense, violation of second law. But if you could, and then you just filled that space with helium, I went into a long disclaimer. Well, you just don't listen.
I've seen, look, have you ever been in a swimming pool and then you have like a ridge or something and you blow bubbles up in that, right? And then it sticks under there. Then you see, like, actually you're seeing the water bordering, causing like a mirror-like reflection, right? That's kind of the scenario I had in mind. It's really not
It's not that
useful.
important, you're right. Okay, I'll give it you. Now you've explained it a bit better, but I had to give clarity to my objection, so it's all fair.
All right.
Both of you still had a container.
Oh, yeah. Container?
Of course.
Absolutely. I Adam.
What do you want? A helium puddle?
Yeah,
Then
but Adam said, he said you could have a
Yes.
helium puddle on the ceiling, and I'm like, no, puddles spread out sideways.
You get helium puddles in all freshly filled up helium tanks. It's helium gas above it. There's a puddle of helium at the bottom. in
No,
the
no,
face.
on the
so-
ceiling. Not the what's it called? It's not hydrostatic because it's not static, right? But it's being pushed together at such high pressures that there's basically no gaps between the gas. So it then sort of has liquid-like behaviour.
Hmm.
I wasn't talking about in its liquid state. That's cheating.
You
Not a
said
liquid
puddle.
helium
That's what
puddle.
confused me.
Yes, but we were talking about gas puddles, right?
There is no gas
Gases
puddles.
gases are clouds.
I
They're
know.
not puddles. Puddles
But
are
it would
liquid.
seem like a puddle if it's only surrounded by liquid,
And on the
and it
ceiling.
would be on the ceiling.
Yeah, we got that.
I'm just fooling
Thank you for
around.
progressing the conversation. It was so worth the 150-mile round trip to pick up Adam's projector that he so graciously has given me. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, all that for a chat about helium puddles. Yeah. Yeah, it was very brief this morning, Nate, but it was been really busy. So
I sense that
nice
might
to
be the
see you,
case.
if only brief.
Well, you were accommodating to the point where I'm like, Adam's been well raised. He was polite and offered me a brew. But then when I was like, no, I want to immediately go and start fiddling with this, you were like, okay, that's fine, which is perfect. Because it meant I got here and literally from the moment I got back, I just tried to get it to work. And when I had maybe 10 minutes spare between then starting the go button on the pre-show. But, you know, I've got it working. It's good. I'm happy.
Yeah, it looks good.
Got a
Nice.
If
lot
I was Adam, I would have been disappointed a little bit.
with what? Me being rude. I was rude.
No. That you couldn't hang out. I mean,
Yeah, that's
that
being
would've been
that's
cool.
being rude. That's what I mean. I was being rude. But
Yeah, but it stopped me having to be rude, saying piss off, I'm working.
yeah,
So
I was doing it as a place of business. So from that perspective alone, I always felt like I had an excuse to leave. Well, you know, I don't want to keep you held up, and obviously you've got customers or whatever. But that wasn't really a scenario. I just had to be blunt and go, no, I actually do just want to go and start fiddling with this you've very kindly given me. I'm not even going to stay for a brew and say thank you. So
well, you said thank you, but no brew. So, you know, and to be fair, it was methadone time at that point. So it was, like I say, about to get really busy. So,
oh dear, fun of a pharmacy. It was very nice. Thank you, though. It's nice to see your digs and all that. It was really nice, in fact, to get a grip on what you do and where you are. And it's nice.
lovely little place. But yeah, good to see you too, Carl. But at least we got the show back on the road. That's the important thing.
Absolutely. And periodically, I'm going to be begging so I can cover the repair bill. It's sod's law. These things happen when you're broken already. Going, oh, please hit the PayPal link. I'm really broke this month. It's been crap. And then you have something really expensive break. Marvelous, isn't it? That's gone, by the way. I've just, regardless of what the end costs will be for doing so, I just immediately got that shipped off. So it's gone back to Optoma, and hopefully they'll fix it. Hopefully. Anyway, enough of that. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container?
Helium puddles.
Well, we haven't seen it yet, so I guess the answer is no.
About any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics.
Dark matter.
Kent, have you heard from
Just
Dr.
kidding.
Becky?
No.
Okay, so I was a little bit regretful because of the subject matter that the call we had yesterday was about, i.e. me and solving monitoring woes. But during that discussion, Adam went over a first 5 minutes, would you say, of Morgul's video, Adam, that would possibly raise minor objections with, or there'd be a back and forth if he was here. He hasn't responded to me, by the way.
Yeah, I think that is probably better because I think I'd have questions for him and would seek further understanding of the point he's making. I found the video. Second off, yeah, I mean, it's all gravity ball, so there's no real beef there. He's demonstrating the contradictions in their paradigm. The first half, I don't know. I wasn't really sure of the point he was making with regards to his criticism of the model, and then I think also the only major point of disagreement I would say is his understanding of the scientific method. I kind of heard a few things with regards to natural laws being summarized as science and then attacked on their pseudoscience basis. So nothing majorly, but I think just it'd be nice if he was here just to have some points of clarity with regards to it, just to discuss what exactly he meant by certain bits and bobs. But yeah.
Can we get a summary as to what is actually going on first?
Well, no offense to Morgal, but although he hasn't responded to me, it was him that proactively contacted me. So in a way, I kind of expect him to get back to me at some stage, given that it was him and his suggestion when he proactively contacted me. So yes, I've replied, and yes, I've chased him up. But based on that, I want him to be able to give a summary for it, and I've encouraged people to go and subscribe to him and check out his video. So on that score, I don't want to summarise his point for him because I don't want to get any of it wrong. But there are certain aspects that I can just address, and one of them is the one that Adam's just addressed. So as he's already done it, I might as well reiterate that point. And I can't remember whether or not this went out on the discussion that we were doing last night that wasn't recorded, or whether it was on a show previously. I cannot remember, but I'll give my piece anyway. Which is to say, in a way, Morgal's got a point when it comes to saying, why are you adhering to these, and he says, pseudoscience ideas about how gas behaves. So the reason I say I'll give him 1 point for that is because when it comes to our opponent's position, they have renamed natural laws, quote, scientific laws, which they are not. And on many a Quantum Eraser stream, we've covered this very aspect of them greasing the skids of their just so stories by labelling them as science and justifying it by saying scientific laws. So when you've got something that describes an occurrence always, that would be a law of nature, it's just a description. Hasn't been through the scientific method, isn't claimed to be going through the scientific method. In many instances, second law, it would be laughable to try and propose a cause of the effect that is described. So all natural laws are doing is describing the phenomena. They're not explaining it, they're just describing it. Now, some people might take umbrage with various aspects of the description. In some instances, parts of the description are purely fictitious. For example, isolated systems do not exist in nature, but are used to describe aspects in the most simplistic terms of the second law of thermodynamics. So you could easily take umbrage with that, and you'd have no legs to stand on if you tried to refute that umbrage from your opponent in that regard. They are genuinely fictitious. You just have to explain that it is merely a description, and my abstract words are a feeble attempt to try and describe this effect we see always. That's all it is. Now, when, as I said earlier, that you're utilising the word of science to give credence, to your just so stories, it's very useful to relabel those descriptions, because that's what you're going to be doing when you describe what a light in the sky is. Give a description, not give established cause and effect methodology through cause and effect reasoning in hypotheses with experimentation, that's hypothesis actualization. None of that, just a description of what you say the light in the sky is, as opposed to the description of something that occurs always. That's a natural law. So, all that being said, when you know that they are described as scientific laws, you can say, fair enough, Morgile, when you say that they're pseudoscience, well, it's a claim of science that doesn't have the methodology attached. Only true for our opponents. We call them natural laws and make it plain that they're only descriptions. And those descriptions are of what? I'll say it again. Things that occur always. So gas behaviour and its descriptions in many a natural law is, as I say, a description of something that we observe occurring always. Now, again, these laws get hijacked too. Newtonian laws of gravitation. Well, you can debunk a law and then it's no longer a law. If you can't debunk a law, which is just the description of something, i.e. show that that isn't an accurate description of the thing that's occurring always, or in the case of gravity, it's not occurring always, then it's not a law anymore. Now, feel free, anybody out there, not just addressing Morgul in this instance, but if you want to try and overturn a description of any of the natural laws, descriptions of things that occur always, then obviously be our guest. But to label them pseudoscience is a misrepresentation of our arguments when we use them as descriptions. That's all we use them for. Reasonable descriptions, they wouldn't be laws if they weren't, like the law of gravitation. Not a law. Why? Well, because it doesn't occur always. Anyway, so that particular aspect of claiming that the pseudoscience descriptions of gas behaviour, well, no. Descriptions of things that occur always. Feel free to...
Is this...
Go ahead, whoever.
Yes. Yeah, it's me again. Is this in any way an end around at the scientific method?
Not when we use it, but when our opponents use it.
Well, I'm just wondering if Morgul is challenging the scientific method with the IV, DV, CV, and the empirical nature of it.
No, he's calling the natural laws pseudo-scientific descriptions.
And who's made those claims?
Ballers. So you could say, if you were being particularly aggressive with Morgul, you're misrepresenting our position here, mate. But I would hope it's actually a misunderstanding of who's making the incorrect claim about what a law is, and by nature of their need to hijack science for their just-so stories, effectively turning it into pseudoscience. In name only.
If we take, for example, the law of entropy, the natural thing, is he challenging something about entropy?
I think from what I saw, he appears to from what I heard, because he did mention Nathan and the crew with regards to this, I think the misunderstanding is he thinks that we think that natural laws are science, and that we're making a claim of science when we talk about a natural law or use a natural law as supportive evidence. I think he is assuming we're making a claim of science there, which I say is a misunderstanding from what I could tell.
I don't see how anybody could think that, but anyway, we're very clear.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone on the panel here ever say that.
Well, there we go then.
Get his ass on the show.
Well, it's not the first time the ballers or anti-flat earthers are going to misuse science. Major universities still misuse science.
Hold on, he's neither.
I'm not saying he is. I'm changing over to how science is being misused all the time.
Sucks to be on top. When you're the number one show, everybody comes after you.
What are you on about?
I don't know where that came from.
That's technically Neil blowing smoke up his own ass.
This is going to need a container for that.
Neil, do you want something to beef about? There was one little line where Morgul says the power of a vacuum and shows a large container being crushed. They evacuate the container and then the air pressure crushes it. That would be the only thing that I think he missaid, where he stated that as look at the power of a vacuum. No power in a vacuum. Lots of power in air pressure.
Is that like that railroad tank that had a little vacuum and it took all the air out and it just collapsed on itself? Is that what he's referencing?
That's it, the railroad thing.
Yeah, because of pressure. All because of pressure.
But other than that, there was nobody's ever seen an atom. I agree. Well, there was another bit. Yeah. He mentioned smoke rings, which, if I'm being honest, shows a bit of lack of understanding if you're going to talk about smoke as gas. Smoke isn't gas. Smoke is tiny little particles, solids, thought, that are so small that when the impact's there with the gas molecules, it keeps it together. They're getting bounced around, bounced up as well as down. But that's what we see when we're discussing smoke. We're not discussing gas anymore. When I posted a video for the guys. Often you can do an experiment with the smoke cell, and it's called Brownian motion, which is under the microscope. You can see these little smoke particles, and you can see them having very random behaviors, sometimes as they hit each other, other times as they just move around on their own in these thing. And that's often a good way to visualize gas behavior. It's not, because, as I say, the subparticles are little solids, but you can see the interaction there, and you can then presuppose that gas particles are little balls to imagine within that model. But yeah, just another point of distinction there. If we're going to use smoke, we've got to recognize it's not gas, even though it's quite useful for giving us a visualization of the model.
So, Adam, in that reference, you're saying no one's ever seen an atom, but they use it to describe or electrons or neutrons and all these different things. It's not my field of expertise whatsoever. But what are they? Why did they give things names that they've never seen, and why is it important in describing what they're talking about?
This was a bit. I know Morgile challenged that convention, and I've no problem with that. But he then goes on to describe. No, because technically true. We haven't seen one. You'll never see one. Can't see one. They're not visible with light. They are visible with electrons, and you can see the shape an electron microscope makes them. But I say the point. I've got no problem with challenging that model. But if you then go on and talk about units, however they are, little subunits, there was no alternative proposed. Just no, I don't think that's proven scientifically, which is fine.
Which is
yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely no disagreement. But I'm not sure what the point is after that. After you highlight the obvious,
may I?
That this is,
May I?
Yes, sir.
Well, again, unless it's misrepresenting what we use the argument for. So, in years gone by, because it's probably been a while since we've discussed this, don't take this the wrong way, ballers. There is nothing wrong with models, right? Models are very useful. The problem is the reification of a model. So when we describe with a convention and abstract language gas behavior, we are just working within the convention ascribed to describe it. Within that convention. Okay? So within the convention, we take aspects that are described. Let's just say it's like bouncy balls. Give ballers a few things to latch onto here. Then you describe those bouncy balls flying in all directions. Right? Now, gas isn't like bouncy balls. And if you describe it that way and then start ascribing bouncy ball behavior, then you're working outside of the convention. That means outside of the description that's used to describe the behavior you're observing always. So bouncy balls, well, that's bad. Bouncy balls don't just fly off in all directions. If you've got a bouncy ball in front of you and you release it, it doesn't fly upwards towards the top of the tank. Yeah? That's not what bouncy balls do. It is what gas does. So that is demonstratable as occurring always. Okay, so notwithstanding the poor, and it is poor, some of these conventions within these descriptions are crap. I'm not going to, disagree with Morgile in that respect. It's like, yeah, we are but mere men, and we have really crude descriptions. Yeah, okay, I accept that. And it's not a problem until you work outside of the convention. For example, you describe gases being like bouncy balls and then say because they're like bouncy balls, they'll be behaving like the bouncy ball that I've got in front of me that isn't flying off in all directions, but if I drop it, it falls down, so the gas works like that. That's working outside of the convention that's merely being used to describe a behaviour that occurs always. So I will align with Morgile and feel free, attack all day long some of these crude descriptions. Our abstract language is insufficient to describe God's work, and I am humbled by that. And I will align with him all day long and say, yeah, we could do with better descriptions. But the descriptions, if the abstract language improves, all it'll do is convey the information of what is occurring always better. But it's not going to change what's occurring always or give you the ability to work out a convention and then derive information to work outside of the convention you've used to describe it in the first place, which is what ballers do. So bouncy balls making gas go down, go boom, boom, working outside of the convention, describing gases like little balls that fly off in all directions. That's just the description of what gas is doing when you're trying to describe what it does always.
You've referenced in the past different gas laws. Where did they come from, and do they have merit?
The laws are just description. I'll say it one more time. They're just descriptions of what is observed to occur always.
For
Well
example,
described, Nathan. Well described.
PV equals nRT. We can figure out what the pressure would be, what the volumes would be, what the temperature would be. We can use all of these things, and they work within the convention. But as much as they work, at no point, no matter what numbers I put in, whatever I'm going to calculate, does it tell me why?
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, because you need that answer from God, like Nathan said. We're doing the best we can to describe God's work.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want?
We do have a method, and in the past I've been so stupid as to suggest that we would put the entropy change of X through the scientific method, and if there's anybody of any intelligence in the conversation, they laugh at me. Because it's ludicrous to assume that you can try and establish the cause of entropy. I'd love someone to try, though. Why does my tea get cold when I leave it on the side? Why don't I come back and it's boiling?
I would like the answer to that too, because my coffee gets cold way too quick.
Because the answer, and the only answer you're going to get fundamentally, is because hot goes to cold. Because of entropy.
That would be entropy, yeah. Why that? Why that? Not describe the how it goes from one to the other. I don't need to know how the process is going to occur, how the transfer is going to be induced, what rate the transfer will be at. None of that's useful. Why did it happen in the first place? I don't know. That's the way things go. It's like an arrow. It always goes in one direction. Yeah, but why? So you go on. Nobody's going to come up with the cause of entropy. And that was the end of the conversation when it came to looking at relative density. What's the cause? At one point, when you've got a pseudoscience fundamentalist religious assertion that there is a cause that needs to be looked at when there's no phenomena in the first place, and then you start looking at what's actually happening that could be ascribed to their cause that you've debunked in both mediums, 4 space and 3 space. At that point, you say, well, what is it that we're actually looking at? Is there a phenomena to study? Yeah, there is. What is that phenomena? Well, after several days of discussion, well, it's entropy. So at that point, you go, oh, that's the end of this conversation then. No need to carry on trying to figure out what's causing this, because then you're going to start bashing your head against the wall trying to figure out what the cause of a second-order effect of entropy is. You're never going to get there. At the beginning of that question, if you rewind any process, where do you end up? You end up at the beginning of the start of it all. Now, essentially, what does that mean you're doing if you're trying to establish the cause of entropy? You're back at the ontological primitives. Would you agree, Adam?
Yeah. You're in a place where you don't have the capabilities to do science anymore. In fact, is the question even scienceable is probably more pertinent. How do you science how God made things work? Because it's not noticing that hot goes to cold. It's not being able to measure it. You're asking to determine why. And that's the foundational code of the universe, isn't it? Why it slides that way.
Yeah.
That's me saying I don't know.
Why does that process...
Does anybody think...
Why does that process that would suggest a fundamental beginning, middle, and end, with a description of it in between, why does what we actually experience remain in everlasting, beautiful harmony, ebbing and flowing, never reaching equilibrium? Why does that happen?
You ever think maybe it's necessary? Hello?
Absolutely, that's the world. We're just describing the whats and the ises of what we experience. Well, in some ways you could step back from that and go, wowee, how profound. So you're just naming stuff. Wow, great job. Now, it's useful when you want to describe how something occurs to someone else and you haven't got the words to do it because there's been no natural law in place to give you a description of something like entropy. Then, obviously, it's the great minds of the people who first described that process. But all they did was describe the phenomena. Now, I'm not demeaning that, and I'm not decrying its useful nature, but it's not exactly hyper-profound. You're not figuring out the whys and the hows. You're just describing the whats and the ises.
And that's still foundation and so useful, because these things aren't, you just derive all these gas laws out of nowhere. They're derived out of experimentation, out of testing, to get to be able to make these statements. You don't just find natural laws. You still have to be empirical in your way you confirm them. But then within that confirmation, there are certain rules within the convention that you can then use in real life, safe in the knowledge that you know that gas will only ever expand into its volume. You're never going to have to worry if you put in a hot air balloon up there that the air might just suddenly, if it went through some magnetic field, suddenly just run off the other way. But there are certain inalienable truths, and we can use them. We can use them to guide us in setting up experiments, and we can use them in guiding us to build technology.
Shout out to Chief Brody, who says, FED is the #1 place to go on the interweb. Thank you very much indeed for your support. Really appreciate it. Tough times, man. Tough times. Got a big repair bill coming up for a projector that's broken. So, yeah, if you want to smash the PayPal link, now's the time.
Smash it. Adam, can you repeat what you said? You could safely what? Because then you broke up.
You can safely use it, can't you, in all walks? So these natural laws, these gas laws, we can look at them, can't we? You say, right, well, look at Tim's gas cylinder in his yard. He's using all of those things. The bloke fills it up, knowing these natural laws, knowing that if it gets warm outside, his gas is going to expand, because if you heat a gas, it expands always. Net effect, because that's contained, it's going to increase the pressure within his tank. What's the pressure that the tank can contain? Going to use the gas laws to figure out how much he can put in there safely. But none of that useful, brilliant stuff is there any causation. With all the knowledge we get for life where we can use it, there's no further understanding of causation.
Yes, agreed.
Any comment from Discord? Anybody want to add anything on this? Last show, everyone had an opinion on this.
If not, I've posted 3 pictures that I'd like Adam to comment on and us to chat about in the Master B.
Okay, they're up, I think.
Okay, you got the one with the 3. Is that the one everyone sees?
Yeah, it's not going to be slick today. They're going to see the slides as I click them. I
That's all right.
can't fit it all on the screen without showing that bit. Yeah, we've got the pizza slice and then the 3 pizza slices.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. I see it now on my iPad. So, Adam, do you see this?
Yeah.
So this is a section of a circle, or in their mind, a ball, their sphere, if you're going to make a 3-dimensional. And all the angles are coming from the center. And then here we have a chord and the surface where the arc would be, where you and I would be if we were on the boat with a sextant. It's got 3 different ways of looking at this. I'm going to have you explain with your mind what's happening here, and then I'll throw my 2 cents.
Right, working C to A, Sagitta based, where you're calculating the length of the segment created, which again is incorrect because this is like what Brian does. So it points out that the distance on the top of the ball, where the arc is, the distance between the 2 points of the top of the triangle at the top, that distance is shorter than the arc distance. So it's not relative to reality. The picture B is just using basic square trig look to define D. And as the diagram shows you, if you use basic trig, D is not in alignment with the surface of the supposed ball Earth, because balls curve and straight sides of triangles don't. And so that's not much use. As for this one, I'd probably have to have a little bit. How the hell are you going to define C and D? As that's what, about 1,500 mile deep. I'm not sure what that is. I'd have to probably look at that and take some more references as to what the parameters mean.
So maybe can you fill us in on the formula? R equals AB over AE times AC.
I mean, it's a trapezoid fundamentally, isn't it? But where's the R?
What are they going for, though? I'm a bit confused. Is it... I don't really know what they're trying to measure on A.
No, that's why I'm not sure. I'd need to see a bit of derivation of...
Okay.
How do you define C and D? What? I mean, you can get A and B, or you can certainly presuppose A and B in real terms, can't you?
Hold on. They're saying they can get it, R equals. They're not saying you can presuppose this R for the R.
I mean, if you look at all of the others, I've faltered how the maths would be incorrect, but you could still base it on assuming R and then saying where you are. A and B on A, you can assume that it's on a ball and pretend you've got those measurements, but E, C, and D, I have no idea. I'd have to, like I say, see a bit more time.
All right, so let me before we go to the second slide, where is the vertex on all of these?
None of them have one, apart from if you count the next to the labeling A, B, and C.
Exactly. So when they do a 2-dimensional circle, there's no possible way on the curved surface that you can form a vertex and get an angle. So they always have to go to the central angle. And this is the trick. So here's you guys explained it in so many nice ways, but in reality, the only reason I put this was to get the audience and everyone to see that there is an angle and it's formed where 2 lines meet, creating a vertex. And where is that? Never, ever on a curved surface. Impossible. This is why the sextant destroys the ball, because it can never work on a curved surface. Go to the next slide, please.
Well, I'll just add to that. So this also works quite nicely to show how when you're gathering the vertex from the centre of a sphere Earth, as is shown, and I'm circling at B, then the line along the top surface, which gives you your 90-degree angle, and that's what they take, because this would be their zenith. If I'm carried on the line along R in diagram B, beyond the 90-degree point at the top, that's where they say they get 90 degree. Oh, well, I just take my zenith. But then this diagram really nicely shows how, well, then you don't have a triangle to work with when you actually take the measurement from the base, i.e. from this line here. That's where you'd be taking the angle. So it shows beautifully how they take what you measure. So this would be where you'd sat on a ship, on a boat, working with a flat plane. That would be the line D, as opposed to something curving away from you. When they move that sextant angle measurement on the surface down to make the vertex come from the centre of the presupposed spherical Earth, you're not taking an angle measurement with a sextant from the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. You're taking it from the surface, and that balls up your triangle if you try to presuppose it after the fact when you assume the R value that they haven't got, if this was the centre of a presupposed ball Earth. So in that respect, this diagram B especially shows you how you no longer have the ability to triangulate if the surface is curved. I'll move on to the second slide.
No, exactly. See, this is the point. The sextant kills the globe model so quickly because you're using it on the surface of the Earth. You're not saying I could go to the center of this Earth and shoot the angle from there, because you're not there. You're on the curved surface. And Adam could add to this, it is impossible to have a curved baseline and get an angle. So the only place they get an angle from and attribute it to the sextant is on a presupposed globe from the center. The tool, however, is used on the surface of this presupposed globe, which has a curved surface, which means the tool is not working on their model. So why does it work? Because it has a flat baseline to the GP of the star, as the middle picture shows. It is straight all the way into the zenith and the GP of that star.
Earth is flat. The baseline described by 10th just now, that's flat. Earth is flat. That's why it works.
Okay, second slide. So you see that orange line, that's a chord, as Brian has shared with us. So there's your angle. And of course, you have to get it from the center. But you're on the surface, which is curved, where it says U, and you can't get an angle from there. And that arc, a minor arc in this case, is a longer distance than the chord if you straighten it out. And since you can't use a section without a straight line, this pretty much speaks for itself. All their equations and calculations and distances would be off. Well, number one, they can't do it from the surface anyway. Last slide. Unless, in this last slide, as you see, they decide to draw a straight line and call it a tangent plane. Now you can see that they're even admitting, if you go to the next slide, Nathan, they'll see that they're using a straight line to create an angle at the surface of the Earth on the last slide. Now think about that. They're admitting they need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2022 is going to be the year of the sun.
Yeah. I agree. Two things kill the ball Earth. The sextant proves a flat Earth. Black Swan destroys the ball version. And 2022, the year of the sun, because light is coming in divergent, not parallel. And it definitely destroys their whole idea that the angle on the surface is the same as from the center because of parallel sun rays.
So what are you saying? Here comes the sun, do do do.
Well, it's quickly over when you realize that they don't have a scale to measure an angle from a curved surface. They don't have a scale of whatsoever, a measuring scale. Sextant definitely can't do it. So how they do it? Well, they're all holding a sextant, which needs a flat baseline. So you can't say the sextant can work off of a curved surface because the tool itself can't function that way. That's why it's over right there when you describe what the sextant can do and what it cannot do.
It only works because the Earth is obviously observably, measurably, and navigatably flat. I've managed to hold off doing a bit of e-begging for the majority of the live show, but I will say I've had a bit of a disaster, and the projector that I got from a GoFundMe campaign a little over 2 years ago has had a major fault. So I've sent it off to repair, and I'm hoping that I'll get some, hopefully, financial help from people hitting the PayPal link in the info box below this video, which is a terrible thing to say, as it's been a really crappy month, and over the last few shows I've been saying, hey, it's been a really crappy month, please support me via the PayPal link, and now I'm saying, please support me via the PayPal link because it's been a crappy month, and sod's law, something has broken. With that said, though, Adam Meekin was kind enough to actually give me a projector that I could use in the meantime and keep the show running, which is the most important thing. So I tripped over about 150-mile round trip to Adam's, and he was gracious enough to just hand me a projector, zero cost, and I just hooked it up and can now do this show. So I wanted to leave a little bit of time at the end of the live show to, most importantly, say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to everyone who's supported me up until now and given me the drive and motivation to solve this problem within 24 hours, quite literally. And of course, a massive thank you to Adam, who's actually made it possible to keep the show running, because without that second monitor, albeit with, I don't know, about 1 or 2/3 less real estate of screen pixel value to actually deal with the show, I can actually run a show in a limited fashion with a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of faffing here and there. So big thank you to Adam. Just say that again, Adam, thank you very much. Really do appreciate you giving me this projector, because we've actually got a show today.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Well,
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, us and the crew miss it more than you. You enjoy a day off. We're lost, so we resolved to try and fix it. It was lucky.
You hit it right on the head when you lost.
Well, I do enjoy a day off, but by the same token, I do want to. I've got a certain amount of commitment in myself because of the support I get to keep the show going out and go to the ends of the earth to actually achieve that. But I couldn't without people like Adam and without people like you in the audience right now, who will hopefully do exactly as I'm suggesting and smash the PayPal link. And then when the bill comes and I do get my projector back, that you all supported me and GoFunded me in getting it in the first place. God, this feels terrible. Anyway, e-begging where e-begging is needed, and that's what I've got to do. So if you can support me via PayPal, it would be really appreciated to hopefully keep that particular projector, which was very expensive, maintained in a hard month where I can't necessarily cover the cost of it. But in the meantime, we have got a show running, which is the most important thing. So another massive thank you to Adam, another massive thank you to everyone who supports me on PayPal and Patreon and in the super chats and all the rest of it. Hopefully I haven't missed anybody. If I have, I'm really sorry if I've missed your super chat, as I've got too many things on the screen to monitor it. I did catch one of them, but if anybody else has, I'm really sorry I didn't shout you out. Maybe I'll leave it as a comment after the fact. However, with that, I am going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Stay tuned if you're watching on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, as there will be an after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
Jeez, I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Guys, get in a word quickly. Nathan,
Yeah.
I kind of been around for the live show. I kind of want to go and do something.
Oh, that's fine.
I gotta-
The most stressful time where I need somebody, when I've got the YouTube chat up, as I mentioned at the end, it's on a different tab rather than spread out on a different part of the screen. So it means that for a time, I can't see Discord. I didn't want to have to say that to you, but as you're disappearing, that's more of a concern on the live show. Now there's no chat, I'll just have Discord up, so fine. Thank you very much for hanging around, though. I really appreciated it. If somebody could have kicked off, I might have struggled to sort it out quickly. I'd have sorted it out, but it's just nice to know you're there as a security blanket. So I really appreciate it, Righteous.
All right. Thank you guys, and see you later.
See you,
Take it easy.
Righteous.
Yeah.
Subscribe
So
today. Just one sec. Subscribe to Data Righteous Force, by the way. He's got a YouTube channel now, and he's been putting out videos, which is something I love to see. Although he's disappeared now. So, oh no, you haven't. So, good videos. I've been watching them, by the way. I haven't commented, but I have been watching them.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, Righteous Force.
And right, and yeah, as Nathan says, do, and you guys have a good day. Bye bye.
See you later. Who does that?
Yeah, I'd like.
Is that Brian's Logic?
Yeah, he just joined.
Hey, Brian.
Hey Nathan, hey everyone. I can't talk at the moment. I just joined and listening in. I'll come in now.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah, I want to call out Virus for posting something stupid again. Really, this is stupid as stupid can get. We're talking about the sextant and curved surfaces. And he's saying we're stuck on Euclidean. What does the sextant have to do with any of that? It's a tool that needs a flat baseline to work, Virus. Don't change the subject.
Hey guys.
He's probably away from his mic. He's in the chat, but he's not responding, which typically means he's not.
No, I'm just calling him out for the audience. I don't care if he comes or doesn't come. He's already proven helpless and hopeless. I mean, he doesn't even know what a straight line is after he said he looks out and it's straight. He still thinks it's curved. I mean, there's no helping this guy. He doesn't want help.
He's speaking for the audience. I agree, Tim. Let him know.
No, I'm going to call him out.
That measures angles. That's it. Stop trying to throw math into the equation so you can confuse people. Like maybe there is a way that they're not using it right and they don't realize that they're working on a sphere. Shut him down.
No, he's out there spreading lies because, you know, the claim is just go read the Sextant manual. Just read the Sextant manual. Well, I have read many Sextant manuals. In fact, I have a Sextant and I read that manual. Guess what it says? Aim at the, it says aim at the, hang on. It says aim at the horizon with the horizon mirror. It doesn't say center of the earth.
So he's taking a bathroom break and he'll be right with you.
Can I just say Black Swan?
Yeah, say Black Swan all day long. That's where Sextant's going to bring him back to. The manual says use the, they even label it horizon mirror, not central angle mirror.
Hey guys, but the sextant also shows that the flat plane continues on past what we can see and measure. You know,
of course. It depends where the GP of the sun or star is that you're sighting. I mean, if you're right under it, then you're 90 degrees to it. If it's 30 degrees off from you, and then you do the math and you say, oh, I'm this many thousands of miles away from that GP. Well, you need a straight baseline all the way from you to that GP because it's eventually going to tell you where you are in relationship to where the sun is on the longitude-latitude grid that they've put for us to know where everything is.
now I'm just saying that destroys the idea of a tangent plane, you know, like.
Oh, sure. But the only reason I bring up the tangent plane is because they always show it and they never take it all the way out to where the zenith of the sun could hit that tangent plane because it would prove a flat earth.
Yeah, the tool's utilizing an aspect of the ground beneath your feet. That aspect is flat. That's it. It's the end of the argument.
Yeah, indeed.
Earth is flat. Good. Well, I'm glad we drew a conclusion to that. Virus listens after the fact. He can get the information then.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just doing it for the audience's sake because he puts dumb stuff
I thought
in
he was
chat.
on a bathroom break.
Yeah. Well, when he comes back and he's like, oh, I didn't hear any of that. Can you repeat it all? I'll be like, no.
Oh. Yeah, because you could listen in the bathroom.
That's lovely.
I just love it. Think I know where to go, Nathan, with the Sextant. It's a killer.
Missing anything?
Again, Ryan?
Oh, nothing. I was talking.
Okay.
It's good to see you got back online quick, Nathan. That was sharp, Adam.
Yeah, thanks to Adam.
It was more luck than judgment, weren't it, though, to be fair? Buried at the bottom of one of my old, one of my kids' old toy boxes. So I knew I had it somewhere. I knew we had one. But yeah, lucky it was decent enough for Nathan's. Not quite as good by the sounds of it, Nath. You've had to reduce some of your screen, are you?
Well, no. I am far from moaning. When you said you got a projector, I assumed what you'd have is some old, 3-tubed CRT thing that would need convergence settings doing, and I didn't expect it to be the one I had before last. Something I'd actually owned. I even spent an hour looking around for the remote for it because I know I've got it. I don't chuck away remotes; they're always useful. So somewhere I've got a remote for this projector. I just couldn't find it in a pinch. But in other words, it's been sat in the same. There's been the exact same model sat in the same position, whatever it would be 10 years ago. Couldn't be more ideal from that point of view. I plugged it up and it just worked. I knew how to function it, how it functioned, and how to get in the menus and flip it upside down and set it to the right input and stop it from cycling through inputs, set it to high bright mode. I had it set up functionally within 10 minutes. There's just things like I've got to physically pick the thing up when it's red hot to turn it off, because I can't just turn it off, it'll blow the bulb. You have to put it through a power down cycle, so you have to actually go into the remote, which I haven't got, which means if you haven't, you've got to physically pick it up because it's upside down on the ceiling and press the off button twice with it red hot. So when I did it earlier, I burnt my fingers. But I'm like, it's so be it. I can do the show. So all of my gripes, however many, I didn't necessarily want you to hear any of them because I'm nothing but grateful.
I will take no offence, mate. It's like Neil said, nice bit of coincidence, Neil. But useful for us.
Very. Once the one... I was talking to Arwen in the show trying to de-stress after I got back, right? I had about 10 minutes spare. And while I'm trying to de-stress, he's like, I understand it that when projectors have a fault, they're basically just scrap. I'm like, oh, thank you, Arwen. That's just cheered me up no end.
Well, hopefully this will keep ticking. How long are they going to take to fix yours?
I don't know. Hopefully quick.
Months, won't it?
When I spoke to the dealer, I was like, look, this is going to end up costing me money because I'm shut down while I haven't got it. And he then, at the same exact time I did, got direct in touch with the manufacturer. Being an ex-rep, it's just kind of muscle memory makes me want to phone them direct, so I did. But he'd forwarded on my email and removed that bit, and he told me why. He's like, look, you've bought it as a customer from a retail shop. You're not a business customer. When you bought it, you're just a customer. So don't mention that you're using it for business. I'm like, oh. Because, of course, what goes through my mind is, I'm a YouTuber. I can leverage that. Maybe I'll get a free projector in my dreams. You know what I mean? But that was my train of thought. Whereas his train of thought is, look, if they sniff out that this should have been a business transaction and you're trying to get something fixed that's potentially junk, as Arwen puts it, then that might be tricky. If they've got a reason to weasel out of repairing it at all, they will, I think was the inference. He didn't say that at all. I'm just kind of reading between the lines. But in other words, if you're just buying something as a normal customer through a shop, a retail shop, they don't want to deal with that shop if the customer's saying I'm a business customer, which is technically what I'm saying to them. If I'm saying I'm using it for YouTube, it is being used for business. That is a fact. But there we go. I didn't realise that at the time I purchased it. I just got in touch with an old dealer and I was like, I need a projector. Get me one cheap.
Yeah, would they be
He's
able
ready,
to take the
Nathan.
Sam?
He's ready. He's there waiting. Ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Say again?
Bring him on.
I'm ready.
Hey,
What's up,
Virus.
Tim?
How you doing, bud?
I'm great,
Let's make
man. How you
this-
doing?
I'm doing good. Let's make this quick and nice and surgical. Describe to me what an angle is.
What angle? What?
Describe what an angle is.
Point of two straight lines, vertices. You can also get them from tangents and stuff too, but yeah.
So, two straight lines meeting at the corner, creating a vertex, gives you an angle. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. You did say straight lines, right? Just making sure.
Yep.
So you need straight lines for a corner, for a vertex, right?
What's a straight line?
Really now?
Why would you question that?
I mean, it's a question.
Let's just get clarity on that before 10th Man takes the surgical operation to its conclusion. Why would you question that?
I want to make sure we all on the same level of straight lines.
Sorry, is there any single person in this entire hangout? There's 24 people
What
in
a
the
straight
Discord
line
server
is.
and about 5 or 6 people in the G Plus hangout that don't understand. And raise your hand or speak now if you... Virus, shut up. If you don't understand what is meant when someone says the words straight line.
I just dropped a chalk line, and it's a straight line, so I think I know.
I don't want to hear if you do know. Just let me repeat the question. Anybody who doesn't understand, to make it a justifiable question that Virus has just asked, what a straight line is. Doesn't seem like a reasonable question you're asking there, Virus.
Crickets, yeah.
Doesn't seem like a reasonable question.
So they should be easy to answer.
Why would you want to check what his understanding of a straight line is when literally not a single person in the room would question or have a lack of understanding in that regard? Why would you need to clarify it? We need to go through the Socratic method of what a straight line is, while you interrupt me pointing out how stupid it is to go through the Socratic method with a straight line.
Question. Can I answer the question?
You asked him to clarify what he meant by straight line, and I'm saying that's a ludicrous thing to ask.
You asked, why did I ask it? And I was about to tell you why, because I don't like to assume that people know this or know that. I want to know.
Ask. No, I said that's a ludicrous question to ask.
To get rid of my assumptions, I don't think it's a dumb question.
Okay, why are you asking? Now I'm asking.
The reason I asked is to get rid of my assumptions that somebody might not or somebody might. So I'd rather know instead of assume.
That made no sense. That was gibberish.
It was me getting rid of the assumption that people might know or might not know. I'd rather get rid of the assumption and know for sure.
X2, same gibberish.
Virus, preceding that silly question of yours, we both agreed two lines meeting together, creating a corner, creates a vertex, did we not?
Two straight lines, yes.
So why would you ask me what a straight line is after we both agreed on that?
Equal understanding. The same reason you asked me how to get an angle,
we
which is a dumb question to me too.
Okay, we've all agreed.
Okay, we can agree on this too. I mean, I answered your dumb question. I don't see why you can't answer my dumb question.
Yeah, he's strapped you down. The guillotine's been hoisted up. It's been sharpened. Now he's just waiting to let go of the rope, and you're just delaying the inevitable.
He says asking him what an angle was is a dumb question.
Yeah, it is. The same way you think asking what a straight line is a dumb question. I answered yours, just answer mine.
I did. When we agreed it takes two of them to create a corner to do a vertex. Obviously, you're slow.
You with him now?
No, that is explaining what an angle is. That explains an angle, not a straight line.
Yeah.
Look at the delay move.
It's the two things required to give you the angle.
All right, so let's get down to it. What's a straight line? If you need that for the angle.
I just said. We're just going to go around in circles. Were you asking what a straight line is? Something you've agreed and understood and described how two of them form an angle. Yeah, we know. Can we move on? Can you let go of the that knife now, 10th?
Yes. I'm willing to move on. That was a long time just on a straight line. I can only imagine what the future will hold. So the horizon.
Yeah, Virus. That means stop squirming. He's going to go ahead and chop your head off now. Thanks.
the horizon that you're supposed to aim your sextant horizon mirror at for the baseline, is that a straight line?
Yes, it is.
Oh, good. We're progressing. All right. And then when you use your index mirror on the sextant and you sight, say, the sun or a star or a moon, and you bring it down to the horizon so you can get the angle, is that another straight line?
Yes, the straight. Why are you asking me these dumb questions? You wouldn't.
That'd be a yes.
Yes, thank you. And you holding the sextant, would you be the corner creating the vertex so you can have an angle to your position?
Yeah. Yes, we know the answers to these.
Oh, welcome to Flat
great.
Earth. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Welcome to Flat Earth. Not from the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, then 2 straight lines, no curved surface, no sphere Earth. End of globe Earth claim. End of presuppositional angle taken from the centre of a sphere. Begin the rumpusing. Off you go.
Thank you, Nathan. Good summary.
The Earth is flat, but you can think of it as a globe.
What's a straight
You
line?
fell right into
Sorry,
that
did you not
virus.
realise the argument
A
ended?
straight line
sorry,
is straight.
Sorry, we don't need to hear the head that's been removed jabbering from the basket, thank you.
I still never answered my question.
Sorry, your head's been removed. We've
He
welcomed
doesn't
you to
realize
Flat
it.
Earth. You've said you just take the angle from your feet. Well, then you've got a straight line to the GP of the star and a straight line to the star. That would be something you can't do on a sphere, and not the claim when you try and beg the question that this angle measurement you've just confirmed we will do on a flat plane is actually done from the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. You've said it's done from the surface. So you've automatically not only invalidated the claim of a sphere Earth, which wouldn't allow you to do this angle measurement, but furthermore debunked the anti-flat Earth rhetoric claim that this angle's actually coming from the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, something you didn't say. So on both counts, the anti-flat Earth response to this tool that needs a flat Earth and the tool needing a flat Earth, welcome to Flat Earth in both counts.
Well, like I like to said, now 10th, you're starting. Do you understand my comment about being stuck in Euclid? Y'all ain't even give me a definition of a straight line yet. And you're still stuck on Euclidean.
Oh, sorry, did you want us to beg the question of non-Euclidean? Sorry, did you need us to beg the question of non-Euclidean?
No.
Oh my God.
You have to be able to think in Euclidean and non-Euclidean.
Virus,
what's up?
Don't change the subject. You
I'm
just
not.
agreed. You just agreed that there were 2 straight lines from the surface of the Earth. Where's your curve?
Yes.
Yeah.
What you talking about, man?
The curve that's supposed to be between these 2 items, the GP of the star, would be where it is on the ground, and your position where you're measuring this straight, flat line to it that you just described and confirmed as a flat, straight line with an angle, the 2 things that need to be there to give you the vortices and the angle in the first place, that's your flat Earth welcoming. How slow are you?
Never said flat.
No, we did. You said straight. That's straight, not bent. Well, when you're acquiring an angle, straight line, what, you're going to think you're going to worm your way around now your head's in the basket about what a straight line is?
No, you're just proving my point of what I put into the
Oh, wow, what a great point. You told us how you need a straight line.
What?
So what's your point? You asked where you got a curved line for your sphere Earth assumption when you've just described straight flat ones. And I know where you want to go. You want to move into non-Euclidean geometry. Oh, and are you using non-Euclidean geometry when you use a sextant?
I did not say anything about flat.
No, we did. We welcomed you to it on the basis that you would require 2 straight lines to measure an angle. The globe Earth explanation, a la the description on screen now, comes from the centre, something you did not describe. So your anti-flat Earth rhetoric's debunked before it's even used, and the claim that is being used is measuring angles. That's straight lines, not curved surfaces that you'd have on a sphere. Welcome to Flat Earth.
You don't
I
have
don't
to
mind
say
you
flat.
welcoming me to flat Earth.
Well, that's okay. Welcome to Flat Earth. It's good to have you here, Virus.
You don't
now
have
what?
to
You
say
need to know
flat.
about what a straight line does. Now you're on a flat Earth and you've been welcomed to it. You're going to ask us a few questions. No, there's a long and arduous journey ahead of you, based on your total ignorance of everything that the world you thought it was is actually.
Let me
I really
continue.
wish
Since
it was,
Virus.
I can't
Hey, I want
Virus.
to say something.
Well, no, I'm almost done, Arvin. So, Virus, now that we got you here, at least, please explain to me what a right angle is, a 90-degree right angle.
You just said it. It's a 90-degree.
Well, yeah, but I want you to, because you had so many problems with a straight line that's taken 20 minutes to figure out for you. I'd like for it to come out of your own mouth.
Yeah.
So what is a 90-degree?
You haven't even told me what a straight line is yet.
Keep quite right. The two
We
things
need to
we were
tell you what a
detailing
straight
in,
line is?
you were confirming when describing an angle, those two things that meet to make an angle. Yeah, we did definitely clarify that for you. Before your head hit the basket, and then after your head hit the basket, it was the last memories buzzing around in your head after it was chopped off. So you asked us again to clarify it. When we got clarity, detailed that clarity, then removed your head and welcomed you to Flat Earth.
I mean, I don't mind any of that. You can welcome me to.
Oh, well, welcome to Flat Earth, Virus. Yeah. Now you've got a lot of
How
questions.
many
and as
curves
I
in a flat
already
plane?
told you, there's a long and arduous journey ahead of you. Now that you've been welcomed to the flat plane that you must dwell atop in order to acquire an angle with two straight lines. Now, maybe there's some remnants of baller in you that thinks that you need to now clarify what straight lines are, even though we asked every member of the panel here, before and after you asked the question, repeated it, and your head had been chopped off, if it was reasonable to ask what a straight line is. Now, unless you're going to move us into a non-Euclidean geometry to get these angles, something you've ignored twice and have postulated to progress the argument, give you a little lifeline to try and beg the question of non-Euclidean geometry. But what your response to that last time I said it was, I didn't say flat. That was your response last time. Last time you're going to get this lifeline. Do you want it or not?
I don't care about it. I just want my answer. I just want y'all to answer my question.
What's a straight line? Oh, it's two of those things that you need in order to acquire an angle. Third time.
Okay, yeah, so what is it?
So that was what it was, and yeah, what, you're going to circle jerk round because you lost your head and it's now in a basket with only one thought in it? Yeah, the last remaining thought is obviously what we get once the head reaches the basket.
That's
Virus,
not asking. That's not saying what a straight line is. That's just saying.
It is literally that last thought over and over. Basket thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. The basket thoughts of a dead man.
Can I try to reason with him, right? Just because we don't say flat doesn't mean that it's not flat, right? And just because you don't say, oh, I didn't say flat doesn't mean it's not flat. Just like when Bob, science guy, showed his model side-on view of his model with a sphere and a radius, and he just didn't say it had a radius. He didn't put the R there. Doesn't mean it doesn't have a radius, you see? Right? You don't just have to say it. It isn't just conjured into reality only if you say it. Either it is there as part of your concept or it's not. It doesn't matter if you point it out or not, it's there.
You should listen to my claims then and attack my claims instead of trying to give me what to think.
Yeah, we asked you a series of questions, and the answers that followed only comport with a flat Earth. Because if at the stage that you were asked, how do you acquire an angle if the surface is curving away from you, your response hadn't been, well, no, you're using an angle measuring device to get an angle to the horizon with straight lines to the horizon, all of which was clarified before the fact. So what I keep telling you, you've clarified something that is only possible on a flat Earth. And it's been summarised why it's not possible on a spherical surface, with the Earth curving away from your position, that you're trying to get an angle, that would be two straight lines meeting, on the surface. Yeah? I also clarified what the anti-flat Earth position should be at that stage, which is to assert that the Earth spherical measurement that's an angle is actually taken from the centre of the presupposed spherical Earth. You didn't give that as a response either. So on both counts, you are dead. But all you can do is chant straight through the middle of me and mute me so you don't have to listen to it.
I still hear you.
Okay, good. Now that we're here, let's go back to a radius. Is a radius line a straight line?
Yes.
So then you do know what a straight line is.
What is it?
Sorry, he just asked you if something was a straight line. You answer yes, and then your only response, again, last remaining thought in the basket after your head's been removed, is, oh yes, a radius is a straight line. Yes, it is. Okay, jolly good. But then your reply is, but what is a straight line? Something that everybody here has already accepted is an unreasonable question to ask.
Sounds more like
What
a
is it?
philosophical question.
Why y'all just so afraid to answer? Why is it that y'all rather go through all this analogies and stuff by my head being cut off instead of just answering a simple question?
Okay, shortest distance between
answered
2
it.
points. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, what is that on the surface of a sphere?
We're not on a surface of a sphere, because if we were, you wouldn't get 2 of those shortest distances between 2 points to get an angle between them, because it would be a spherical surface curving away from your position to a geometric horizon that was an Earth curve edge that was below your point of view, because it's all curving away 8 inches per mile squared and not acquiring you an angle with a sextant. So who cares how it would work on a sphere? It's not working on a sphere. The sextant proved that already when you described how straight lines were required.
Hey, 10th. Now you see why I said...
Name's Nathan. The one with the salty balls slapping you around the face.
I hope you see that was the point of my comment.
What a straight line is? We all know what a straight line is. Something you haven't got if the surface is curving away from you.
Now,
He's confusing
yes,
an
10.
arc
You
and
see
a
my point
chord.
now.
He's confusing an arc and a chord. That's all he's doing.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
What's an arc and a chord? What's the difference then?
Who cares? All he's
An arc
asked us
goes
to do is beg
No,
the
no,
question.
no. I want him. I want him to describe what the difference of an arc is to a chord.
Talking about me?
He's asking you what
Yeah.
the difference between an arc and a chord is.
Arc, like on a sphere, is an arc like part of a circle? It's an arc.
Are you asking
chord
us
could
with
be
an upward inflection? Because if you're asking us with an upward inflection, you aren't answering and demonstrating that you know the answer.
I'm not asking you.
Yeah, we're asking you. Maybe if I put a really high upward inflection when I ask you if you know the difference between an arc and a chord, maybe my upward inflection will make you answer no, because you don't.
No, your upper inflection.
No, you don't, do you? Maybe it's time for me to get a barrage of questions to distract from the fact you don't know the answer, or you just give it us? Because you don't know the answer to this question. You asking me if something that you're trying to define means you don't know.
I wasn't asking you anything.
Yeah, we were asking you, dipshit. Yeah? Yeah, we know you weren't asking us. We were asking you. Do you want to do that 5 more times? Yeah, you don't know the difference between a chord and an arc, do you? Or you just give it us?
There wasn't a question mark at the end.
Yeah, there was. The
What is
question
it,
mark
Virus?
came after the question aimed towards you, Virus, which is what's the difference between an arc and a chord? Then there was a pause, then loads of upward inflections and questions towards us came. Of our question to you about if you, a cum virus, know the difference between an arc and a chord. Maybe try and segue away again, you slippery little sod.
So, Virus,
Look,
one more
I don't
time.
care about your
What's the
deflection. I
difference?
gave you my answer. Deal with it.
No.
What's a chord then?
No answer came our way, Virus. Just a lot of obfuscation away from your ignorance in this regard.
And
Let's
are
go.
you seeing is having a conversation?
You've had enough
I
time to
know,
Google it now.
Owen.
You're going to give us the difference? You're going to describe the two and juxtapose them? Or are you just going to tell us that you've already answered? Pathetic. Arc and
Still
chord.
playing games, Nathan?
Description of
You still
both
playing
followed by a
games, Nathan?
juxtaposition. Can you do that or not?
I already gave you my answer.
Oh, we already gave it us. Oh, I'm so glad we had this geometrical education from Macum Virus on the difference between a chord and an arc. Thank you. I'm sure the audience feels so better educated on the differences between an arc and a chord, thanks to your concise description of both and the juxtaposition between the two of them. You are epic, Virus. Thank you so much for enlightening us all.
Can you please give it again? I didn't hear it.
Neither did anybody, because he didn't give it. He's just, what's that word? A lying wanker.
I gave it all.
You did you, lying wanker? No, Virus. You are a dumb shit. And a lying wanker.
Join those points together.
Yeah, lying wanker.
Well, give him a chance to give it again.
Okay.
He just talked through my answer. He just talked through my whole answer. Arc is a part of a curve. A chord is a line that joins 2 points together. Joe. But there, I mean, it got quiet now. So
we've gone quiet. No, we were listening to a fuckwit with his fading facts and vague descriptions. So you think we've gone quiet, do you there, fuckwit? No. Your fading facts was what went quiet.
What was wrong with what I
realized what
said?
he said.
Take a deep breath.
Or did you not hear me?
Oh, I heard you all right there. Yeah, a chord's a line.
Yeah.
Is it a straight line? Maybe you can clarify what kind of line and how that is a juxtaposition between that and what you described as an arc. Because that's not what you gave us.
All right, so
maybe you didn't understand the question there, retard. Maybe when you were asked to give a difference between one thing and another, you think just describing one as a line and the other as an arc is enough to juxtapose the two with detailed descriptions and definitions of both? Because clearly that's what you think you've given us when you stumbled and muttered your vague utterings of spastic nonsense, which is what you did, and then afterwards muttered away into the background and asked why it had all gone quiet.
No, what I said is...
Yeah, that's what happened, you bumbling, stumbling, muttering fuckwit.
No, I get...
Yes, you are a muttering, stammering fuckwit.
Let me finish.
Yeah, we all gave you about 50 seconds of airtime to define and then clarify with juxtaposition the difference between two things, and you've had this vague little mousy voice in the background.
Yeah, what I said in the background had nothing to do...
Yeah, you notice how you got a nice bout of strength in your voice while you assert this? Yeah, now give us that exact same strength in your tone while you define and juxtapose the difference between an arc and a chord. Go!
You just talked over me.
You're getting very quiet there. Go.
Yeah, you just talked over me.
Yeah, maybe, rather than that strength coming through with his clarification and strong definition of arc and chord, he's going to moan about being talked through. Go! Hurry up with your juxtaposition between the two.
Are you doing this on purpose?
What, making you look like a complete clown? Because what we have had in terms of your claim that you've defined something is your moans about how you're getting spoken through. And every time you get airtime, you continue to moan about something that isn't a clear definition and juxtaposition between arc and chord. What's wrong with you, thicko?
Don't talk to me when I say this.
Notice how quiet he's gone again.
Complain some more how you're being talked through while you get complete room to say whatever you like.
Arc
Complain
and
some more
chord.
about how you're being talked through.
Define the two, then juxtapose them. It's simple. Go.
Don't say anything this time. The arc is a part of a curve. The chord is a line that joins 2 points together on that curve. Damn, I said that like 5 times.
So is that a straight line?
He just Googled the shit out of that.
No, I got it. Is that straight? Wait, would you say your previous description of straight matches the chord?
A chord is a straight line as well, too.
Thank you.
Can you define that for us? No, not all right. Sorry, when you say straight line, as you just did, I'm now going to demand you define what you mean by straight line in description of a chord. What do you mean straight line? We're all confused here, said nobody when asked. But you were, so now you are going to define what you mean when you say straight line. Go.
God, this is ridiculous. Okay. Chord is a straight line if it goes upon the rules of what a geodesic is or a straight line on a sphere is.
All right, geodesics aren't chords. A chord and a geodesic are not the same thing.
Yeah, they could pretty much be part of the same thing.
Sorry, you seem to be like you're fading facts when you first define these things there, stupid idiot. Sorry, a geodesic? Sorry, no, a geodesic would be something in space-time. You think a chord is something that occurs in space-time?
Repeat that?
Do you think a chord is something that occurs in fourth-dimensional space-time?
What does the fourth dimension have to do with this form of
You said
geometry?
geodesic. Do you know what geodesic is? Are you just throwing out these fucking buzzwords that you haven't got the vaguest clue what they mean?
What's a geodesic?
You were the one who used that word, and I'm now asking him if he knows what that word is. Clearly I do. I'm quizzing him on it. But he's going to throw it back with burden of proof reversal and ask me. You used this word along with straight line to describe the chord line. Now we're saying, oh, geodesic. What would you mean when you say geodesic? Why the hell are you asking me?
The same reason you didn't answer my question for.
Oh, it's a question of me. When he uses this word geodesic, suddenly I've got to explain it, have I?
Oh, he's talking through me. Always. Always.
Oh, so it's back to this fucking moaning about being spoken through. He's used the word geodesic, and now what? It's up to me to define it for him?
No, you don't.
No, so get on with it then, Dick Brain. What's your malfunction? You used it, now define it. We've got to have half an hour with every word that you use, with you demanding that we define it. You use the word straight line, and then we've got to spend half an hour defining it for you. You use the word geodesic, and then it's half an hour burden of proof reversal, while you demand that we define the word you've used.
Yeah, because you said something about the fourth dimension.
No, kick him out. His time's over. He's raising my blood pressure too much. Piss off. Either you've got one chance right now to define the word you've used, that's geodesic, or you're no longer part of the conversation. I can do without the stress.
Okay. Intrinsic curve. That's your answer.
That's an arc, Virus. That's an arc, not a chord.
It's still a chord.
Sorry, so when you said straight line for the definition, first off, immediate answer for chord, it actually meant, by complete contrast, intrinsic curve. No, that's why we asked you to juxtapose the two, you stupid idiot. But maybe, ladies and gentlemen, he can project this shit straight back onto me. Let's see how he does, because he's currently talking straight through the middle of me. Maybe you could bitch about how you're getting spoken through, because while we summarise why you were asked to juxtapose them, you can define how the straight line that is an chord is actually an intrinsic curve. Yeah, you stupid spastic?
No, they're not the same.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, that's our point. That's why we asked you to juxtapose them, because when you define a straight line, that would not be an intrinsic curve, would it?
Yes, it would.
Oh, it would in fourth dimensional space-time.
No,
No, yeah, it would. That's a geodesic.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't if you're defining something as the shortest point. The shortest distance between 2 points, because that isn't an intrinsic curve.
The fourth dimension has nothing to do with spherical geometry.
Oh, right. So, basically, let's just ignore Einstein.
What does he have to do with spherical geometry?
Everything to do with
a chord is
geodesics.
an intrinsic curve. He's an idiot.
Yeah, he is.
I didn't say that those are the same.
You don't know what you're babbling about, Virus. It's patently obvious to everybody. Just throwing out buzzwords that you don't understand and then Googling them after half an hour of obfuscation every time we challenge you on any word that you use, right down to the basics of what a straight line is. Yet we already knew before you even started to ask an unreasonable question that you were going to be presupposing a presupposed fourth-dimensional bent line as a geodesic.
Fourth-dimensional bent line? We don't see in 4 dimensions. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we know that. That's just your claim of Einstein. So you're now throwing Einstein under the bus, which we don't claim.
It has nothing to do with Einstein.
Yeah, okay, so let's throw Einstein out. We never expect you to ever claim gravity ever again, then.
Don't put words in my mouth. I'm not.
You just said it's nothing to do with Einstein.
Nothing to do with Einstein.
Yeah, okay. So never ever want to hear of it ever again.
I've never mentioned Einstein. You're the one that brought him into this.
What's a geodesic?
Why did you bring up geodesics, Kumu? That's Einstein.
Because it has to do with spherical geometry.
What is a geodesic? What is it? I've asked you, and you don't fucking know. It's obvious you don't know.
I do know.
What is it?
It's an intrinsic curve.
Oh, what intrinsic
curve? I just told you that.
What geometry? In what geometry?
Spherical geometry.
What's the name of that spherical geometry? It's not spherical geometry. What's the name of it? Do you know?
Spherical geometry.
What's the name of it? What's the title?
The title of what? Is spherical?
He doesn't fucking know. That's the problem when dealing with retards. They don't know what they don't know. Yet you are thick, and it's frustrating as all hell. Because literally, even when we lead you, because you've thrown out one of these words, you don't know where you're being led because you don't know your own claim, as is so obviously and always the case. They don't know their own shit. It's so annoying.
You shouldn't be.
Shut up. You realise he's just spoken through every fucking word I just said.
No,
yeah, now you're going to bleat about how I speak through you and I pummel your nonsense that you don't understand.
Because you...
Yeah, you spoke through every word I just said, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, now you're a liar, so I'm going to kick you out, you lying bastard.
Yeah, you find any reason to do that, I know you
Any
will.
reason other than you not understanding your own stupid claim that you're making with geodesics, and then forcing the burden onto me every time you use a word that you don't understand, so that you can buy half an hour to Google it. It's pathetic. Every time you come here, you frustrate me with your ignorance.
What don't I understand?
Everything you say.
Be specific.
Geodesics.
Yeah, an intrinsic curve.
To a straight line?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Well, which geometry would that be in?
I just told you.
Oh, spherical geometry still has straight lines that are straight. For example, a chord.
Yes, a chord is a line that connects 2 points on a curve. It is.
Yeah, and that would be something that does not have any intrinsic curve to it. So when I ask you what a geodesic is, it's not a chord then.
A geodesic is a straight line or intrinsic curve on a surface of a sphere. That's what an intrinsic curve is.
Like an arc?
An arc can also be part of that because that's part of...
Yeah, unlike a chord.
A chord is nothing but something on a curve that connects 2 points.
Not on a curve. No, he doesn't know what a chord is. Oh, I didn't realise we never got to that point because he didn't define it, did he? So you think a chord is something that sits on a curve, do you, thicko?
Oh my God.
We need Bob here.
Geometry, bruh.
Yeah, geometry, bruh. A chord doesn't sit on a curve, bruh. You're thick as shit, bruh. Don't know what fucking chord is, bruh.
You suck at
A
geometry,
chord
Akumu.
Yeah,
You
don't now
suck,
tell me
and
what
you're a
chord is when you
liar.
just told me that it sits on a curve.
A chord is a line.
Don't tell me what a chord is when you just told me it sits on a curve.
It does.
No, it doesn't. You're thick as shit.
You want me to post it?
Yeah, you can post it.
Okay.
Virus, does the globe Earth follow a chord through space, along a chord through space-time?
He's denying that a geodesic is anything to do with space-time.
Well, I'd just like to point out, Nathan, that originally he attacked us on Euclidean geometry from the chat. Now, he obviously doesn't know non-Euclidean geometry. Does he even know Euclidean?
He does know it. He's literally lying, playing ignorant. He's lying bastard. You can hear it in his voice. You can hear it. Suddenly gets tense, like, That's when he's lying.
Yeah, I called
lying
it when he... Yeah,
scumbag, Akumu.
I totally agree, and I called it the moment he did. But what we're doing is we're playing football with a dead man's head. He doesn't realise that.
Assumptions.
It's only a flesh wound.
I told you, he's trying to confuse
Chord
an
is a
arc and a
line
chord.
drawn
That's all
into
he keeps
on
doing.
a curve.
Sorry, what his only option now, John, is to chant through everything everyone says.
Yeah, he's trying to say that in
repeat that.
spherical geometry,
There
a
he
chord
is
isn't
again.
a straight
He's
line.
just chanting through everything everyone says, telling us that he's not doing that through what someone's saying.
Posted proof for y'all,
There
but
he is.
somebody
Is
deleted
it time for you to leave, Virus? You can't seem to contain yourself. Obviously very triggered with this demise of your claims that need straight lines, that you won't define and redefine chords as arcs with intrinsic curves. Yeah, is it time for you to leave because you don't seem to be tolerating anybody speaking? Even as I speak right now, you're chanting right through the middle of me, aren't you?
I posted it for you a while back.
I know what a fucking chord is.
What is it?
It's a dissection through a sphere.
That's a reversal of proof. So they are sorry.
Yeah, I can tell him
uh,
though, because he doesn't need to post it for me to know what a straight line is when it dissects a sphere or circle. Yeah, I know what a chord line is.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, okay, that would be me knowing precisely what a chord is, and it's definitely not got any intrinsic curve to it.
Can I read?
You notice I didn't have to look it up or post anything. I just know what I'm talking about.
Can I read this?
Can you suck my balls, dead man with your head in a basket, being kicked around on a field while we laugh at you? You could suck those balls. Yeah, you could. But what's actually happening, Virus, is we're just fucking around with you. You're just a lying prick, as Arwin pointed out, and I pointed out the moment you started to lying and claiming ignorance about things that were awkward in your argument. Yeah, we know.
Can I
We're
read this?
playing polo with your head right now.
That's fine. Can I play this? Can I read this? While y'all play ball with my head, can I read this? An arc is a part of a curve. It is a fraction of the circumference of a circle. A chord is a line joining 2 points on a curve. That's literally what this says.
Yeah.
But you don't understand what they mean.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah, it's not intrinsic. That chord line has no intrinsic curve to it. The fact that it has a joining point that are on two curves, i.e. it would dissect a circle or sphere, still makes it a straight line between 2 points, with a curve going over the top of it. There is no intrinsic curve to a chord line. You are just thick.
Only if something physically obstructs
So
it from
y'all
being
prove-
straight.
Y'all prove my point just
chord
well.
has to be
I'm
straight
cool.
by
Y'all prove my
definition.
point just fine. Thank you.
We proved which point? You didn't actually make any points, other than making a point that would only comport with a flat Earth in terms of requiring vertices and two straight lines that meet at an angle, horizon measurements, GPs that are on flat planes. You in no way offered up any globe arguments. You didn't beg the question of it moving from an angle that's at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. All you did was describe a flat Earth measurement of an angle. That's all you did. So when you say, well, you confirm my point, the only points you made here in the positive were flat Earth points that we welcomed you to flat Earth for. So, okay, well, kudos. You made your point, did you?
Yeah,
and
I
then
did.
you
I
started.
made my
Oh, great. Yeah, we know you made your
started
point, and we
mixing
welcomed you to flat
geometric
Earth when you
medium.
made it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind being welcome to flat Earth. I like flat Earth.
Well, cool.
You're mixing mediums, though,
Okay,
mathematical
hold on, Armin.
mediums that are
Hold
incompatible.
on. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we know you like being here, but it's still frustrating as all hell that you don't know what you're babbling about. That's still, you haven't changed fundamentally because you've now been welcomed to flat Earth, and that you understand how a sextant works, and it requires straight lines and angles being measured. But, you still got this lingering idea that somehow bending geodesics are going to get you out of this requirement for straight lines. And even when asked to give clarity to two very different things, chord lines and arcs, you couldn't define them, and then after half an hour of burden of proof reversal fallacy, you were still demanding that we didn't understand something that you were defining there and then with a limited explanation that didn't give you a straight line between 2 points within the definition, leading you to believe that a chord line has an intrinsic curve. No, it doesn't. The chord line is straight. Yeah, it may dissect a curve and have 2 points of that curve moving over the top of it. But that doesn't mean that there is any intrinsic curve to a chord line, but geometrically you're thick. So yeah, great, you're on a flat Earth with us. Yeah, you're still a retard.
Akuma Boris, what is another name for a semichord?
My bad. Go ahead. My bad.
What is another name for a semichord? What is another way you could describe a semichord?
A semichord? Halfway between it would be half of a chord?
Arc radius.
A radius?
That I'm not sure of. I'm not
So
100% sure on that one. That term is
so
lost
if
me.
so that would make the full chord a diameter, yes? You agree?
Yes.
No.
Are we saying no? Holy Jesus.
The reason I'm saying no is because it's just a connection between 2 points on a curve. That's all it is.
What, so it's only limited to the crap definition you dug up on Google while reversing the burden of proof? The definition is only limited to what you read out? No, thicko. No. Believe it or not, we can expand beyond that definition. Does that shock and excite you? Probably not. because obviously it's limited to that very weak-ass definition you gave earlier.
No, I agree with you. You're tripping.
Oh, right, you agree.
you
Shut the
don't
hell up
understand
then.
your own
Let Brian
definition.
speak.
Yeah, Kumar, you don't understand your own definition. Because, and especially you're contradicting yourself when you agree that a semichord can be a radius. Because a radius is a straight line. And double that radius, which would be the full chord, would be a diameter, which is another straight line. So, you're contradicting yourself. You don't. I listened to your description there that you read out. You don't understand what that means. That is talking about a straight line. You just don't understand it.
Never said it wasn't a straight line.
Yeah, you did. You said it was an intrinsic curve.
You say what?
You said it had an intrinsic curve.
Yeah, I know.
No, well then it's not straight if it's intrinsically curved, you fuckwit. They are fundamentally juxtaposed. That's why we asked you to juxtapose them. Ugh, it's just retarded. It's just getting too annoying, Brian.
Curve.
Yeah, it's talking straight through the middle of everything we say as well, so he doesn't have to listen to it. It's just doing the rumpus trick. Every time I open the line, he's in the middle of talking straight through the middle of us.
Can I ask Bryce a question from Discord, please?
Yeah, he's become an asshole, an ignorant asshole.
He's like playing with Legos.
Ask a question.
He's like playing with mathematical Legos, and he's just trying to force the blocks to fit in ways that they don't fit, and then say this fits. No, it doesn't fit. You can't mix geometries that are incompatible, and you're just sloppily using one thing, using the other thing, and mixing them in like it's all right. No, it's not all right, Akumu virus. You're making a giant mess.
Exactly. His
Correct,
ignorance is
always. He's
frustrating,
too
but Brian's
dumb.
got a point that he wants to make. Go ahead, Brian.
No, there's someone from Discord trying to ask a question there.
Oh, my bad.
Thanks. Thanks, man. Virus, can you spell
They're quiet. Hold on, Stag. I'll just turn you up a smidge. Try that again.
I want to ask Virus, can you spell chord in this context for us, please? Just spell the word chord as he
Didn't get a word of that.
Yeah, we can't hear him.
Yeah, I've turned him up
Stag,
to
your
max.
mic's a train wreck, man.
Oh, is that better? Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, much better.
Okay, sorry about that. I want to ask Virus, could you just spell chord in this context as we're using it, please?
I think you're going to have to say that again, a little bit clearer.
One more time, Stag.
Oh, sorry. Just want him to spell the word chord as we are using it in this context.
Who? You want
Your
you
mic's
want you want who to
I
spell
want
it?
Virus.
Virus, can
I
you
want
spell
Virus to
chord,
spell it.
please?
Okay. C-O-R-D.
Oh no!
What?
Really?
What did he say?
C-O-R-D.
A chord?
One more time.
What an idiot.
C-O-R-D?
Wrong.
What kind of chord are y'all talking about there?
Sorry, fading facts fuckwit with your weak-ass pathetic voice that doesn't have a fucking clue what he's babbling about. Maybe you'd like to chant straight through the middle of us berating your dumb fuck ass for your total ignorance. Stupid little boy. You're being told off, you stupid little boy.
What? He can't even spell it.
Good question.
Yeah.
Sorry, just give props to Stag.
Don't spell it for him.
Yeah, he just gave the spelling of
No,
a thin,
it's
flexible
already in the
cloth
chat.
intertwined to make a string.
He did indeed. One more time, John.
He just gave the spelling of a thin, flexible cloth woven together to make a string.
Right, a literal string, like a piece of cloth.
So we're on to string theory.
Why are you even here, Virus? Why are you even here arguing this? Gone on mute. Why are you even here? Do you think you're an intellectual, Virus?
No, not when it comes to terms.
You're damn fucking right you're not an intellectual. You're thick as shit.
I only like math and
You are
some
thick
science,
as
not
shit, Virus. Do you hear me? Why do you even come here, you arrogant little twat? Shut the fuck up, you stupid little boy. You are thick as shit. You don't deserve to be here. Why the hell are you talking through me right now while I berate you for your stupidity? You don't deserve to be here, stupid boy. Do you hear me, stupid boy? I'm asking you, why the hell do you think you've got a place in this discussion? Stupid boy.
Do you want me to answer or you want me to be quiet?
Yeah, fucking right. I want you to tell us why the hell you think you've got a place here. Justify your existence on this discussion.
Okay, because I know about the Sextants.
You don't know fucking anything. You are thick. Wasn't that just made plain to you? Don't describe your justification for being here as I know. No, you do not. Let's make that absolutely clear as he chants through the person who's just given an example of how stupid he is. Start again. Try again, Dumbo. Try again.
You just
Dumbo.
asked me a question.
Yeah, and I'm saying try again to justify your place here, Dumbo. First strike. 2 more tries to justify your place here, Dumbo. You knowing stuff isn't one of them. Do I make myself clear?
I'm not justifying
Yet saying you know was your first strike, your first attempt to justify your time here. Now it's strike or attempt number 2. Go.
There is no attempt. I gave you my answer.
So that's a foul ball then. Strike 2. Listen, dickhead. One last try to justify why the hell you're even here, given that you certainly don't know anything that you speak of. That's been made clear.
Okay, a chord is still a chord. My definition of the chord is still in that chapter.
It's fucking wrong, thick shit. And as a result, you're being asked why the hell you think you should be here. Don't you get it? You think we're asking you to tell us what a chord is?
No, I'm
not. That's right, thicko. We're asking why the hell, given that you are completely demented and arrogant beyond question, you think you've got a place here.
No, I don't.
No, that's right. Yeah? You represent every other thick twat that comes by our path. You don't belong here, you don't have a place here, you don't deserve to be here. You're just another retard who thinks he's on a sphere and as a result thinks he's got the right to challenge us from his abject, thick position of total ignorance.
I can't challenge y'all.
No, you cannot. That's what I'm saying. Why the hell do you think you're in a position to challenge us when you don't have the first clue about your own claim or the words you're even using? You absolutely do not have any right to be here and challenge us. That's the point, you arrogant little prick.
So in order to know...
So you don't have a right to be here! What part of this don't you get? Stupid boy.
I never said I did.
Yeah, I'm telling you and making it plain. You absolutely have no right to be here. It's not justified. You're just a spastic. No right to have any discourse in this discussion. None. Not ask us, not challenge us, not question our education that we dole out daily. You've got no right at all to be here.
Okay, what's your point?
So fuck off. Don't come back day after day, troubling us with your stupid nonsense and ignorance. How dare you thick idiot? I mean, get lost. Go and find your way into the woods and stay there. Don't trouble us with your demented nonsense and ignorance anymore.
You're funny. It's about
Funny? I'm saying you ain't fucking welcome. Do you not understand when somebody makes you abjectly clear in no uncertain terms that you're not welcome?
Is this supposed to make me feel bad or something?
No, it's supposed to make it clear that we think you're a twat, an ignorant twat, and I think you've got no right taking part in the conversation. None. You're just a waste of everybody's time.
Tell me something new.
Oh, so you are also a fucking masochist? Do you get off
In other
on
words,
this,
you're
you
a dummy.
pathetic little boy?
Okay, your point?
It's a question, not a point. I'm asking, are you getting off on this, masochistic retard?
No, I'm not.
So get out of here then. What the hell are you still doing here?
Because it's funny.
What? Yeah, that's masochistic then. So do you not doesn't know what masochist is? God, why would I even try and attempt to describe it? Yeah, I'm not being like that. I've got no problem with that. Yeah, because you don't understand what the word means, as per usual.
Are you sure about that?
Either you are a masochist or you don't understand what the word is.
Maybe I am, but I'm not.
So I don't have time for masochism. Fuck off into the woods and go and deal with it by yourself on your own alone. Don't involve us in your pathetic little fetish. Just fuck off and deal with it alone. Because we don't like you. We don't like people who behave like you. You're a wanker. We don't want to be in your presence. And unfortunately, the open door is still there and you're still wondering, in spite of us telling you to get no fuck. Go and figure out your pathetic issues on your own without us having to trouble ourselves with them anymore. We appreciate what the world is, and from your time here today, it seems that you've gained an appreciation of the world and its obvious and observable flat nature. So you can take that with you into the woods and never trouble us with your problems ever again, Virus. That's what you can do. Don't trouble us with your nonsense any further.
What problems?
Arkham virus. Is there another
Dementia,
baller
for
there?
starters.
Is there another baller there in Discord that I'm not asking for this person to come in and join the debate. I just want them to say to you, Virus, whether you are correct or incorrect in your personal description of a chord.
Okay.
And an arc.
Okay.
How many times you was correct?
About what?
About everything.
About what? Be specific.
Be specific. About Earth. About Sextant. You said I know everything about Sextant. 1 week ago you didn't know anything about Sextant. Now you know everything about Sextant. How is that possible?
A week ago.
Yeah, you said you didn't know. You said you didn't know anything about sextants earlier, and now all of a sudden you're an expert.
You told me that.
You did say that.
Hold on. When did I say that?
You said it on there.
Hello, let's segue on to whether or not he's a lying fuck. Yeah, he is.
What do I know?
What do I? Yeah, we already established in this show for mere entertainment value, I might add. Yeah, you are a lying shit. We definitely know that.
That's the problem when you're a liar.
Too many
You
people
have to
talking. I
remember
can't
why
hear.
you're
Yeah,
lying.
you can't hear the accusations of
No,
being a lying shit. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
No, he's
Bundy
in the
using
middle
all
of
of
the
it.
dementia
Hold on, can
process
I
right
say
now.
something?
He's literally forgetting everything right now.
Look,
So he's going to be
can
like,
I say
what?
something?
What's going on? Where am I?
That's the
Masochist
problem
is
with a
just fucking with
liar.
us
You
at
have
this
to
point. Yeah, we said, get lost, go away.
Is there another baller there who could state whether Virus is right or wrong?
Yeah, we want to talk about you in your absence, Virus. Just get lost. Off you go.
See, Virus, that's the problem with a liar. You have to remember your lies. That's why it's always good to tell the truth.
I'm trying to get someone on his own side to tell him and show him where he's wrong. That way he can't continue to state he's right. Because that would be someone on his own side correcting him, not one of us. Because when it's one of us, he can hand wave it away.
Does he even have a side at this point? I mean, he's made a total mess of any supposed geometry and math that he claims to be so good at. Made such a mess of it. I don't think there's anybody left out there that wants to associate with him at this point.
That is true.
It's like schoolyard when you're picking teams. You get to the last person and no one actually wants the last person. The teams are now settled, and then that last person goes and stands in the middle of the pitch just to disrupt the proceedings.
Yep.
Oh, Virus, nobody chose you. Oh.
Is that supposed to make me feel bad or something?
No, man.
I mean,
you're all right.
If it were me, I would feel bad, but you're a masochist, so you take pleasure from this.
And you're demented right now because you don't really understand what's going on anymore. It was too humiliating you, so you literally had to drop everything and just be like, I don't know where I am anymore. I can't handle this situation. What's going on? I'm so innocent. I forgot everything. That's what you're doing right now, Akumu Virus. I know you are.
Not really.
And Akum, don't miss one show. If you miss one show, man, you will not be paid.
I can't make every show.
Oh, really? I cannot make every show, but I can see you every fucking day here. Man, live your life, man. You are here,
correct.
and person who are talking to you, it's telling you so bad words about you fucking every day here, and you want to enjoy here. Why you don't go to church? Listen this. Let's, for example, say you are not Christian, whatever you are, but why you don't go to church every day and go there and tell the priest that God that doesn't exist and speak, say something, but be against the God every day in the church? Can you do that?
I'm not an atheist.
Yeah, that's true. Why are you here?
You are doing that here.
Yeah, that's
man.
what you're doing.
I'm not speaking about
can't do
religious.
that. I'm not an atheist.
No,
I
you're
can't do that,
picketing. No,
literally.
you're picketing. You're saying you're
religious,
picketing the
man.
church. That's what you're saying.
Akumo, I'm
You don't even
surprised. I'm
understand.
surprised you. I'm surprised you denied the fact that you didn't. You had no idea about sextants. You even admitted that yourself that you did not know anything about sextants. And now, no, but earlier you said, "Oh, I know everything about sextants." You said that earlier.
I didn't say I know everything about
You
the section.
did.
I don't know everything about the
Nathan
section
asked you why you're on here, and you said one of the things you said
because
you
I
knew
know
about was
about the
sextants.
section.
Okay.
I know about the section, not all about the section.
Fine.
There's a difference.
But you know about some aspects of it. So how do you spell chord?
Well, the way they spell it in math is CHORD. The way I
you
spelled
looked
it
it
was
up in the
CORD.
end. We got there in the end. So when you said it was CORD,
No, it's actually.
so rather than
I'm about
fundy
to
muting
say
me,
I
just
missed.
rather than fundy muting me. So when you said it was CORD earlier, what was that all about?
Okay, yeah, I misspelled it when I.
Twice.
Oh my bad.
After
There's an
clarity.
echo. That was an echo. I
After
misspelled it at first, but then the
misspelt it would imply that it was an accident, but you gave clarity. You repeated that misspelling of it twice.
Yeah, but the definition was still the
You
same.
were just wrong. Thick. Didn't know what you were talking about. Didn't know how to spell it. Didn't know what the word meant. Couldn't define it.
He spelled
No,
it as
it's
if he was
actually
on
in the chat.
Hang
The
on,
way
virus.
that I misspelled it, it still came out the right
Virus.
way. When I
Virus.
No,
Virus.
Chord.
Wasn't
Virus.
misspelling.
Okay,
What's
in
up?
a minute. Virus. If this
what's
was
up,
a
Pete?
show about, if this was a show about fabrics and sewing and garments, you spelled it right.
Hey, and chord dancing.
Yeah,
He was
but I
probably
spelled it
thinking about
wrong.
chord dancing,
With the
right? Weren't
yeah, I
you,
spelled it
Akumu? Weren't
wrong,
you
but
thinking
gave you
about
the right
chord dancing?
definition.
No, when you said it had an intrinsic curve, no, it didn't. Chord lines don't have any intrinsic
No, I
curve.
was telling you it's a part of an.
So why would you interrupt me steadily and calmly detailing something that you didn't understand and couldn't even spell? You think that needs interruption, do you?
Because I was.
That's one of the reasons you're not very welcome here. Yeah, wanker.
Please.
Middle of telling you. Maybe that requires you talking straight through me. Maybe in 2 minutes you can moan how you're getting spoken through. As I point out that no, a straight line between 2 points that may be curved above that straight line, yeah, that's not intrinsically curved. That was a misapprehension. And it seemed that when we asked you to clarify it and even spell it, you couldn't do any of the above.
Okay. I might have misspelled it wrong, but the definition I gave you was still right.
Intrinsic curve to a chord line. You stand by that, do you?
They're not the same. I told you that earlier.
Sorry, I didn't give anything to clarify as being different. I didn't give two things. I said straight line, that would be a chord.
And chord.
And you're talking straight through the middle of me again. What the fuck?
You said straight line.
You have wanker. Wanker, yeah, wanker. Yeah. Okay, wanker. I'll just call you wanker each time you do it. Wanker. Okay. So, straight lines that might be joining 2 points that are on a curve, that they themselves, that would be a chord line, don't have any intrinsic curve. So my statement of not having any intrinsic curve, that's not being juxtaposed. It's a statement of fact about a straight line. Something you struggled to understand at the beginning of this discussion, I might add. Perfect response. So, no intrinsic curve to a chord line.
You could think that if you want to. It doesn't mean you're right.
No, that does make me right, Mr. I don't know even know how to spell chord. That's correct. The chord line has no intrinsic curve.
Yeah, I suck at spelling. I literally say that all the time.
And you are a wanker. That's correct, yeah. We know you're thick as shit. That doesn't need to be highlighted by yourself. I can do that perfectly adequately. And also point out for the third time in a row, while maybe a few fundy mutings will come along with it, that a chord line has no intrinsic curve.
What's an intrinsic curve?
Yeah, because when we asked you about it, you said it was the same as an arc, and that line had intrinsic curve, and then you segued on to geodesics, something you couldn't define, and decried Einstein being a part of.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
say literally.
You're unbelievable, Akumu. You're unbelievable.
Real. What did I say? Literally.
What I just defined and summarized moments ago?
No. What did I?
No.
Akum, I posted Sextant. Can you tell me now all pieces how they call? What is measuring that curve? How you doing? What you doing with that? I don't know. Can you teach me, please?
What the hell are you asking Virus to teach you anything? He doesn't even know what a chord is. Can't even spell it.
He said that he knows everything.
No, he's a lying retard who doesn't even know how to spell chord.
Expert.
He said that he don't know to spell it. That's all right.
Yeah, this teacher would walk up to the board and write CORD. Now I'm going to define a chord. Yeah, he's thick. Not someone you want teaching you. Not someone I want in my presence. Not someone who I want fundy muting the shit out of me like he's doing right this second as I tell him how little I want to hear his education on anything. Ever. Again. Laugh it up, you dumb thicko.
And speak and self-incriminate himself, self-destruct.
You really just sound like a jerk, kind
That
of.
sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea.
But you know why Sasha asked
Because
you
a
about
straight
sex
line is no longer a straight line. The fraction that it veers off of its path.
Sasha asked you about the sextant because you said that you know about the sextant. You said you're an expert on it. You've said it numerous
I'm not
times.
an expert, but I know about the sextant. I'm not an expert, but I know about it.
Tell me what is this on picture? Every piece of that part of that sextant, you need to tell me what it is because I don't know, but you will tell me now what it is. What is this arc? What is numbers on that arc? What is this kind of optical thing? Explain me everything.
I can kind of help you out with that just a little bit, but
It's only a machine. It's some kind of apparatus. It's there. It's measuring something, but it's definition about that, but you don't know any part of this. What it's doing.
I did not understand any of that.
You didn't understand.
Sorry, that's the words I needed to hear to round out. He's being asked, how's the sextant work? And then the question of how does a sextant work has been elaborated on. So it's been elaborated on. And at the end of the elaboration of the question, how does a sextant work? And here's a diagram, explain how it works with a diagram and an explanation. The response from Boris is, I didn't understand any of that. Doesn't that say it all?
Yeah, it does, but I think he was talking about what the other guy was saying.
Yeah,
Not
the
the
other guy was saying, explain how a sextant works.
No, he
Right.
wasn't saying that. He was saying something about a picture, and he wanted me to describe every single piece of it.
Oh, a picture of a sextant?
Chip, is it aeroplane on the picture?
No, sextant.
Sextant is on the picture.
Yeah, sextant. The question is, how does it work? And then you elaborated and sent him a diagram. And his response to that, I'll repeat, was, I don't understand any of that.
Find time to Google it.
There's no diagram.
Oh, my bad. When he asked you to explain to him how a sextant worked, he didn't provide you with a good enough diagram to do it. I see. His failure to provide you the tools to educate him with. I see. His fault, really. It's your bad. Whoever asked him to educate you on the sextant, you needed to provide him all of the tools and information in order to do that. That's my objection and why I'm telling him to get lost and never come back. Because when he claims to know anything, he seems to think that flipping the burden and demanding that we explain his claim back to him, with it being our claim at the end of it, so he can pull it apart when he doesn't understand it himself, is somehow a reasonable way of him thinking that he's educating us.
There's no diagram. There's no such thing as
keep bleating. He's going to keep bleating about how the person who's asked him to explain how a sextant work hasn't provided him with a good enough diagram to do it.
There was no diagram. There's a
Como,
picture of a sextant.
just take that statement back, bro. Just take it back. You don't know anything about the sextant. Just take it back, bro.
There's
Don't make the claim and say you know about the sextant when you don't even know the the basic technique of using it, man.
Hold on.
He did provide a diagram on the main chat. It's on there, bro. He did provide it on there. Just take it back.
Okay.
Go on, 10th.
Yes, Virus. At the beginning of this, you said you knew what the horizon mirror was. What is that? Where do you point that to with the sextant?
There's a picture in main chat of a sextant.
Give me a
every
point,
part.
and I will tell you what it is. But besides that, you can't show me a picture and be like, what's every single piece?
Excuse me.
I need you to point at something and be like, what's this?
Excuse me. You've taken too long to explain the picture. Let's go back to the beginning. What do you point the horizon mirror on the sextant to? What do you aim? Do you aim that at the star or do you aim that at the...
Are we switching topics? Are we switching subjects? I mean, like...
Yeah.
Yes, 'cause you're
Asking
taking
what a
forever.
horizon mirror on a sextant does while you struggle to appreciate what an exploded view of a sextant is us changing the subject from sextants to sextants.
No, it's basically saying from each part, what Passion wanted was he wanted...
Listen, man, it will be simple. It is like this.
God.
I show you the car, and I say, I know everything about car. And now you ask me, what is that? And I say, this is wheels. And you say, what is that? And I said, this is door. And what is this for you? This you changing the gears. And I explain you all fucking car. Now can you explain me sextant, please?
Yes, point to a part of the section, I will tell you what it is. But you're not doing that.
10th man did.
No,
Horizon.
can you
10th man did.
to
Stop. Everyone stop.
explain?
Everyone stop. 10th man did. He said horizon mirror.
Thank you. What do you do?
Okay,
what do you do
which
with the
one?
horizon
The
mirror?
index mirror? The index mirror? Okay, the horizon mirror. Which one? The half silver? I mean, the half silver plate? Horizon mirror? The one that's on the, let's see, on the side that's closer to you when you're looking out?
Virus. I said horizon mirror. Why'd you say... I said horizon mirror. Why'd you say index mirror
horizon
and
mirror.
get lost? Yeah, what do you
I was
point
talking
at?
to Sasha about the index mirror. You said horizon.
Yeah. So he says, point to a specific part and I'll talk about it. You say horizon mirror. And he says, okay, index mirror.
That was for Sasha.
What, Sasha? I think anything about mirror. I wanted to know all parts. You started. Okay, that one. Go on.
Exactly. So me saying index mirror was for him.
Exactly. I said wheels, I said doors, I said for changing gears. I don't know in English, but I can explain in my language all car. I can explain you every piece in the car. Okay, can you explain me every piece in the car?
No, he can't unless you send him it with the heading car and then the subheading exploded view of car and then labels to every single part of the car. And then if there's the bonnet lifted up in the picture, you need it to have carburetor and then a separate page with what a carburetor does, labelled with every single subsection of a carburetor. So if you're going to ask him about a car and how it works, and he says, yes, he knows how cars works, you then need to provide him with that piece of documentation for it to be reasonable for him to educate you on how a carburetor works. It's only fair that you should give him all the information and tell him specifically what it is. And if he doesn't understand any of it, and you point at it and he doesn't understand the word, he'll ask you if you're changing the subject. So you point at the battery and he goes, are you changing the subject? We're still talking about cars.
He's also bought enough time to look it up online, so he probably doesn't know exactly how to
You'll never get an answer
point out
out of
which
him.
part
If you ask him where the horizon mirrors point in 10th, he'll ask you about what the index mirrors do. So maybe you want to ask me.
Let's just give it a try. Let's just give it a try. And then let Brian do what he wants to do. Virus, what do you point the horizon mirror to?
It's in the name.
There's those fading facts. One more time.
An answer.
No, just Virus for me, please. It's in the name, yes. So what do you point it to if it's in the name?
It's in the name.
What do you point it to? If you're the
What's it called?
navigator and
Called the horizon mirror.
Exactly, it's in the name.
So it's pointing
Right,
at
so
the
you're
mirror.
in-
So hold on. So you point it at the mirror.
But he doesn't know. He doesn't know, man. He
So
doesn't
no.
know.
What do you mean no? It's in the fucking name, you said, you stupid boy.
Use a little comment.
So we don't point it at the mirror then. It's not in the name then, because so far it's in the name. I say mirror, which is in the name, and you say no.
Well, use a little common sense with that. You can't point a mirror at itself.
So what do you point the horizon mirror at, Virus?
You just said it right before.
Wanker, maybe? Wanker? Wanker?
He's just wasting time.
Wanker?
This is annoying.
Wanker much? Wanker? Wanker? So what do you point it at? It's the 5th time the question's been put to you. In the name got you sworn at. Now maybe you could just fucking answer like a reasonable person might answer this question when asked what the horizon mirror is pointing at. Virus, answer.
It's in the name, and it's not mirror.
Well, the mirror, prick, dick, wanker, hello, wanker. Is it a problem for you to say horizon there, little masochist? Is it a problem? Try it on for size. Say horizon. Try it on for size, you pathetic little weasel.
Thank you. He just answered it for me.
That's
the word I was looking for.
Can you say it? Can you say it, or is it a scary word? Scary word. Chant through it. Is it maybe you could repeat what I said?
10th, come on with it.
Maybe you could bleat for 10th because it is so terrifying to repeat that word. Why is this a scary word?
Horizon.
Oh, 10th. The horizon mirror's pointing at the horizon. Virus just confirmed it. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. That only took 15 minutes.
I wonder
All right, so
why.
Virus.
Why? Hold on. Why would that take 15 minutes? I don't get it. Back to my original question, Virus. Is this a scary word?
Y'all being stupid for some reason.
Sorry, not being stupid. I'm asking if it's scary. You struggled to say it took 15 minutes.
Y'all acting like it's a scary thing to say.
Yeah, that I'm asking directly now with an upward inflection. Is this scary for you?
No.
Well, Black Swan, bitch. Better fucking be, because it's the annihilation of your globe faith, bitch. Your horizon's a geometric physical earth curve edge obstruction. And Black Swan, bitch. How'd you like them fucking apples? Do you like them slapping around your face with the salt? Black Swan, bitch.
Okay, anyway.
Okay. That'll be the slap of a white man's nuts around your face, bitch.
Okay, what?
Black Swan, bitch.
Getting a little racial there.
No. I have actually got white nuts, and I am actually metaphorically, I say, slapping them around your face. Yeah, I am metaphorically slapping you around your face with my white nuts. Black Swan, bitch.
Nature.
Okay,
Sorry, did you not like the scary horizon word? Because now you're getting shouted at. Black Swan. Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is? You know what Black Swan means? Do you know what it means? You know what it means, chanter? Chant through me. Maybe it'll save the pain of this horizon you didn't want to say. Now you've said it. Black Swan. Black Swan, baby.
Okay, that's fine.
Fine? No, it's the annihilation of your globe faith. I thought that was just made clear.
Dead.
10th, what's the point?
10th? No, my name's Nathan again. It's that guy slapping you around with his white nuts. Nothing racial in it.
10th, what's your point?
Not 10th! The name's Nathan. You hear that? It's the sound of my nuts, bitch! Get laughing up, Fundy. Black Swan, it's the end of your globe, Faith. The moment you say that scary word, horizon. Yet yours is a physical geometric limitation to your view, called Earth Curve. And Black Swan, baby, all you can do is chant through it. Yeah, chant through me, bitch. I love it.
Point.
Chant through it.
Was 10th making a point?
No, Nathan was making a point about the Black Swan. Yeah, can you not have... Is it not ringing in your ears? My nuts slapping you around the face when I said Black Swan and asked if you were scared to talk about that horizon that would be a geometric limitation in your Earth curve fantasy.
Okay, you want to talk about the horizon? Let's talk about the horizon.
Yeah, it's used to be a geometric limitation called Earth curve. We debunked that with the Black Swan. About the 10th time I've said it.
It was no, it's not.
Just mutter for me, bitch, yeah, mutter. Black Swan, are you deaf? Not a problem. Maybe tell me it's not a problem when your Earth curve edge horizon's been debunked by it.
What about the Black Swan?
It's debunked your Earth curve edge horizon. That's about the 10th or 11th time I've told you in the last 2 minutes.
How?
If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959, then every distance to the horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And the Black Swan shows the horizon beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere Earth. Ergo, the Earth is not a sphere, and the horizon is not Earth curve. It's called the Black Swan. I think you're acquainted.
Yeah, that's the logic.
Sorry, did you need to mutter through that, bitch?
No, I was...
Oh, well, why the fuck did you? Are you scared of the horizon and Black Swan? Because you muttered like a chanting Fundy bitch through every last word of it, didn't you, Virus?
No.
Oh, yeah?
Where are you pointing now, that thing in Sextant?
So, response, maybe? Your horizon that we're pointing at with the sextant getting a straight line to it. Well, that's not Earth curve, mate. Black Swan. Your Earth curve edge with 8 inches per mile squared to it drops, geometric limitations, physical obstructions. Earth curve horizons aren't what are going to be used with this geometric tool. No. Black Swan.
Okay, no, there's nothing wrong with the Black Swan. What about...
Nothing wrong with you losing your geometric sphere edge for horizon. No, we haven't got Earth curve in this equation, my friend. Earth obviously, observably, measurably and navigatably flat as per the sextant description you gave us when we welcomed you to flat Earth, also not a problem.
No, that's not a problem either. I don't mind.
Well, you haven't got a sphere edge for a horizon. That's a massive problem if you think you're on a sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, how do my balls taste, you stupid clown?
I mean, it's obviously a problem if you think...
A problem for you? Yeah, that's right, bitch. That's why we kept your head around.
So, Virus, you asked me why. Here's the why. Is the sextant an angle measuring device?
Yes.
Okay. Is that horizon mirror the baseline, one of those straight lines?
Yeah.
Okay. So, welcome to Flat Earth. You do know that the zenith position of the sun meeting that baseline forms a right angle 90 from 3,000 miles away, 4,000 miles away, 5,000 miles away. That's just the radius of the GP. That means it's all flat. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Perfect.
They'll let you know whether that circle... They'll let you know whether that circle of equal altitude is flat or not.
It's a right
in
angle.
the name. It's in the name. Equal altitude. Whether or not something of equal altitude is flat or not. Yeah, it's in the title.
No, it's actually not. I mean,
really?
No, it is Aconvirus. The word circle. Circle is a 2D circle. 2D flat.
Circle, yeah. Also, the description that follows in the term itself is circle of, and then it clarifies it with equal altitude, same altitude. Yeah, that's saying same altitude, not drop 8 inches per mile squared. It's clarifying what it isn't. It's not an area dropping away from you 8 inches per mile squared. It's an area of, quote, equal altitude. It's a circle, as Brian points out, two-dimensional. Definitely not describing three-dimensional sphericity with a circle of equal altitude. So I'd like us all to join together welcoming Virus for the final time to Flat Earth.
No drop.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Welcome to elevation and altitude, Virus.
You got no drop, Virus. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Flat Earth. With that, though, I am going to say another massive, huge, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. It's been a good one. I'm so pleased that I got a temporary solution to my screen issue, although there will be a build to follow, so please smash the PayPal link to support this channel. A massive thank you who did smash the PayPal, super chat, and all that good stuff in the premiering streams. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.